Welcome to Whiskey and Whitetails, the show for those that hunt with a passion and drink with a purpose. As always, I am Gus,
I'm Matt.
and thank you to our Patreon for their support, for hanging out in the Discord, and just being generally awesome dudes and gals.
Mm-hmm.
We have gals that are active in the Discord. It doesn't matter.
None active,
Anyways,
but we have gal members.
that's right. And thank you to the Waypoint Network for hosting us, and thank you for all of you listeners and folks, viewers that are watching and supporting. We appreciate it. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back. We have another good one for you. We talked about the Whitetail Distraction podcast, and those guys over there a couple weeks ago. We were guests on their podcast, had a great time for like 3 hours just talking and really enjoying ourselves. So they returned the favor, came on as guests for us this week.
And somehow we did another 3 hours.
Yeah, it was a good time though. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a long one. These guys are great. We get along with them perfectly. No, great podcast, great guys. They're up in Pennsylvania, and we have everything in common. They like whiskey, they like hunting, and we tried to keep it more hunting focused for this podcast. Send them some samples, but it's a good one. I think you'll like it. I think you'll like these guys as well.
Yep, indeed. So,
Mm-hmm.
who helped make it possible though for us to hang out with these dudes again?
Well, when they came on, they had mentioned how much they liked the ChatGPT Mint Mobile ad read. So I got them a special one.
Nice.
Yeah. So this one is written in the tone of Jesus Christ himself.
Oh man.
Oh yeah. I haven't read it, so
Oh, here we go.
yeah, this is a surprise for me as well. Ladies and gentlemen, before we dive into our beloved topic of whiskey and whitetails, I'd like to take a moment to share a message that resonates with the spirit of compassion and inclusivity, much like the teachings of Jesus Christ himself. In our fast-paced world where connections are vital, there's a wireless carrier that embodies values of simplicity and affordability. That's Mint Mobile. Just as Jesus preached about sharing, making life easier for one another, Mint Mobile is here to make your wireless experience more accessible and less burdensome. Mint Mobile's mission is to provide mobile service that's honest, transparent, designed to help you save with plans starting at just a fraction of what you might be paying with other carriers. It is as if they are turning water into wine and making your budget stretch further than you ever thought possible. And in the spirit of inclusivity, Mint Mobile offers plans for everyone, no matter your background or needs. Whether you need unlimited talk, text, data, or a plan that fits your unique circumstances, they have that option and can cater to your specific situation. Just as Jesus cared for the marginalized and the outcast, Mint Mobile is dedicated to customer satisfaction. Their customer service is renowned for its commitment in helping you find the right plan and solving any issues that you might encounter. So, my dear listeners, if you're seeking a wireless carrier that aligns with the values of compassion, affordability, simplicity, consider Mint Mobile. Like Jesus' message of love and acceptance, Mint Mobile welcomes all to the experience of a more accessible and honest way to stay connected to one another. So visit mintmobile.com/whiskey today and let them be the miracle that transforms your wireless experience. Just as Jesus brought hope and healing, Mint Mobile brings you brighter, more affordable wireless future. And his Whiskey and Whitetails reminding you that sometimes the most unexpected places you can find inspiration that mirrors the teachings of Jesus Christ. May your journey be blessed and your connections be ever strong.
And all of God's people said amen.
Amen. Not as good as some of the previous ones, but it was pretty good.
Yeah, that was pretty good. And as always, this episode is also brought to you by Vantage Point Archery. We talk about these guys every podcast since we developed a relationship with those guys. A great product made right here in America, as good as quality gets, reliable in the field, pretty much all you need. I haven't shot a broadhead more reliable and more consistent than these broadheads.
What I love about it is before I go climbing the stand, I'll take one shot real quick just to make sure I'm dialed in. That way I'm not living in my own head. Am I good to go? Am I going to be in trouble?
Yep.
But to not have to change out broadheads to like a dummy one.
Yeah.
You can just literally pull a quiver out with a VPA broadhead on it, sink it into one of those dices and pull it out and go on about your day.
That's the way it is, man.
Love it.
Well, enjoy the podcast, folks. This is a good one. We had a good time, and thank you to the guys for coming on. We had a good time. We'll definitely be doing it again.
100%. All right. Enjoy. All right. There we go. We are rocking and rolling. Austin, Chuck,
What's
Welcome
up,
back.
boys?
Yeah.
How you doing,
welcome
guys?
To the show.
I said welcome back, but not quite
It's
right.
good to see you guys. I should say
There you
that.
go. There it is.
Yeah. It's good to be back.
This almost feels like we need to do this like once a month, just hang out. We don't even have to record it. I mean, I guess we could record it, but
Threaten me with a good time.
Yeah, I like the idea of that.
Yeah.
I think we ought to get together, have some drinks.
yeah.
Talk a
Well, we're
little
coming
talk.
to that show in PA now, so
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
You are gonna have a freaking blasty blast, man.
I can't wait.
It's truly like an unbelievable show.
It is. It's like probably nothing you guys have ever been to as far as an outdoor show. Even the last weekend, which I heard you guys were talking about maybe going to, dude, it's crazy. Like the opening weekend was pretty nuts. Even the last weekend's freaking crazy. Like the Saturdays, both Saturdays are stupid. Just stupid busy.
I'll make sure we go home on a Monday, so I have Sunday to get a liquid
Mhm.
IV in me and to chill out.
Yeah, for sure.
There you go.
For those that don't know, these are Whitetail Distraction Podcast. We were on their podcast a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that, during the hurricane, and we had a good time. So we wanted to have them over here, and we sent them a care package. And we might just jump right into that, so you can get the bottles out. That's the only reason.
Very cool. Well, let's jump into
All
this
right.
bad boy.
Nice.
I sent you
Chuck,
3
you wanna
really good samples.
do the honors of kind of like cracking this up, and I'll pull these bad boys out right here.
Sure,
Look
man.
at that. Couple
Go
of
for it.
hats.
All right.
You guys
Yeah, we
are
don't-
awesome.
We don't sell those hats because of the embroidery. They look great on camera, but you can see them in person. The embroidery's kind of shit.
I'm gonna wear that this weekend when I hunt.
Hell yeah.
I like it. It's a nice hat.
What do you got there?
These look like the samples.
That's
Oh,
what
I'm
they are.
excited.
It's a little. Oh, yeah. Let me be careful.
Be very careful.
So you both get half of each bottle is the best way to do it.
I like
Okay. So we got a Russell's Reserve.
Okay, that's the one I
Ooh.
picked.
Mm-hmm.
it. Oh, good.
9-year, 110 proof.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Ooh.
We got to unroll again. Next roll, we have a Wild Turkey Father and Son 86 proof. That's an interesting pick. I like that. I'm actually excited for that one.
That's a European bottle that I got.
Okay. And last but not least, we have a Wild Turkey 1997 release Dusty. This is the one you were talking about on our podcast, correct? The 8-year,
Yes.
101 proof.
Oh.
So I want
That
you to
is
start
slick.
with the Father and Son because it's lower in proof.
It's lower
Okay,
proof.
drop that down
I
there.
don't know what this is.
Well, there's more in this box. First
I just
off,
wanna take it. Oh, this is a glass. There you
this
go.
thing is tied up.
Oh, look at that little guy.
Oh, he sent you
Whiskey
the
and
good
Whitetails.
Ooh, is that a Pitcairn? Is that how you say this?
Glencairn? Yeah, I sent you
Is
both
this
one.
a Glencairn? Okay.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
You can't
Pretty
taste
This
those.
is sick, dude.
You can't taste those wild turkeys without that Glencairn.
That's what we're gonna use.
Not allowed by the state of South Carolina. Good thing we're in Pennsylvania. We
Mhm.
can do whatever the hell we want.
That's right.
If you try to drink that whiskey without a Glencairn, the whiskey gods will visit you in your sleep.
Oh boy,
You'll see it in the
Yikes.
comments. People will get mad.
look at that bad boy. Sweet.
Yeah, we got a little fire block.
Yeah, it's our
Little smoker
cocktail
block.
smoker. Yep. Did I send
Very
a torch?
cool.
Should have been a torch in there.
Austin's still digging.
I got
Damn.
torch instructions.
I
You
forgot to
got
send you a
torch
torch.
instructions out of torch.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Are you shipping boxes drunk again, Matt?
Yeah.
Well, we
Sounds
did
like-
drink a lot on that last episode.
I can get a torch. It'll be okay.
All right.
Yeah, there's no specific
couple
kind of
stickers.
specialty torch,
that.
right? We can just get any torch and
Yeah, just make sure it's a strong torch it'll set wood on fire.
okay.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. You guys
I have
are
a
freaking
Guys,
awesome.
instructions.
I like it.
Nice.
That's beautiful. Which one did you say again first?
Father and son.
Father and son, right here.
Yeah.
Father and son. All
Okay,
right,
you want to pour your half and I'll pour my half?
we can do that.
So while you're doing
I'm not-
that, why don't you tell everybody about you?
All right, sure. I'll go since Austin is pouring. Charles Edlin. We are, like you said, the Whitetail Distraction Podcast. We started this journey about 5 years ago. And basically just, Austin and I became friends through a mutual friend. And obviously hunting brings the closest friends together, right? I mean, that's kind of always been our bond was we get together. We couldn't wait to tell each other about, this hunting story, that hunting story. And, to make this a long story, basically, when you get to meet people that hunt and do this kind of thing, you kind of tell who's the phony ones and who's the real ones right away, right? I mean, you can tell pretty quick.
Yeah.
And I kind of knew with him, like he knew his shit. We were always bouncing ideas off each other. Well, then Austin got into listening to podcasts before me. He kept telling me for months, like, dude, you got to listen to these podcasts. I got a list for you. I was like, okay. Well, then I think, and I don't know if it was one of your episodes or somewhere I heard this where I think it was a different one, but it was like the boom of podcasts happened really when Apple put the podcast app on the phones.
Yeah, definitely.
And once I had that, I think I started kind of just before that, but that's when I really took off. So I started listening to podcasts. Next thing you know, we're talking back and forth. Why don't we just start one of these stupid things? And we kind of shared some beverages, came up with an intro, well, you had the name already, came up with everything, and off we went. That's how we started. We really just had cheap equipment. We, real cheap equipment.
Yeah.
And slowly upgraded. We upgraded our mixer, upgraded our mics, our stands. I mean, I think the only original thing we still have would be the headsets that we still use today.
For the guest users.
Yeah, for the guest
in-house. But yeah, it's been good, man. It's been a journey, and very heavily alcohol induced when we did it. We sat there and drank. I can't even tell you how many Busch Lights, and it just kind of fell together. It was pretty magical.
Yeah, we were watching some Meat Eater on TV, which, back then that was kind of the big thing, that you could watch hunting on TV like that. And I just remember, like, a lot of people mention and they comment on our intro, like how much they really like our intro. And that was literally something we came up with. And within a couple hours, we had a buddy come over. We had Austin's wife sit down. We gave them a somewhat guideline to go by. They ad-libbed. By the end of it, we took 3 takes, and we had an intro.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Freaking stupid, stupid.
Matt and I talked about your intro, and it really communicates the idea perfectly that hunting whitetails and getting in the woods, immersing yourself, that's your distraction from life and all the BS and work and everything else. And I thought it was awesome. It was pretty good.
Yeah,
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Everybody trying to talk to you, and you're like, I'm not. We're not listening again. Yeah, that's it happens to me all the time at work. People are like, what do you? And I'm like, sorry, I was thinking about which field I'm going to try and sit in tonight. Anyway, it's gotten now to the point that at work people will be like, I think you were hunting or something. You weren't there, and they'll keep telling a story. And I'm like, about work. I'm like, oh darn, I missed something fun at work.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no! Shock.
It's funny though. Go ahead, Matt.
I'll say podcasting is great though, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's fun, man. It really gives us an opportunity to get together at least once a week and share a couple beverages and tell some stories and bounce ideas and really meet some awesome people like you guys and have some guests on that we never thought we would ever talk to. It's been a wild ride, man. It was funny, in the beginning, you reach out to people and you just kind of have that assumption that they're going to say no. And it was amazing how many yeses you actually get. There's the outdoor industry gets kind of a bad rap, but there's a lot of good people in it. And I can appreciate that.
Yeah, I would say we've made some of our best connections and some of our best friendships across, I don't even know how many states. I mean, when we wanted to go turkey hunting in Oklahoma, a guy opened his doors and let us sleep in his freaking attic, basically. And I mean, stuff like that, taking trips to Florida to be able to kill turkeys with a bunch of people. None of this would have been possible without the podcast. I mean, I would have never made those connections without it. There's different sources like, Hunting Beast and different forums like that where a lot of people do similar stuff, but the connection we've made with this podcast has just been far above and beyond anything we could ever imagine when we first started this. This was literally something we just wanted to do what we were already doing and just record it and put it out there and see what comes of it.
Yeah. Gus and I have this conversation all the time when people are like, well, how's your little podcast going? How's your little company going? And it's like, you don't even get it. It has nothing to do with how it's going. It has to do with all the connections that you make and the people that you get to talk to. And we're passionate about this stuff. So to sit around and have a conversation about it with people that are also passionate about it, that's how it's going.
Yeah.
I love the fact that there's a lot of parallels you can draw between podcasting and as kind of a journey? Because you were talking about like starting off kind of not knowing what you were doing, cheap equipment, and then progressing over the years. And you think about it, it's really no different than hunting. You kind of get started, you don't know exactly what you're doing. You got what you could pick up at your local outfitter or Walmart, to get you in the woods, and you're just kind of figuring it out. And as the years go on, you learn what you like, you learn what you need, you meet people, you make connections. It's the same thing in podcasting. And then, it's the same, like you talked about meeting great people and connections through podcasts and getting opportunities to hunt. I can't tell you how many times, Matt and I, for example, have been on a hunt somewhere like, and met somebody and immediately been offered, hey, why don't you guys come out next month? Or why don't you guys, we've been offered, hey, why don't you guys come over the next weekend? If you're still going to be around, you guys can crash at my place. I just met this guy 10 minutes ago. We could be, we could be serial killers for all this guy knows, but it's such a tight knit community. And there's, community and fellowship, those things that when we talk about whiskey and whitetails and, the after the hunt, sitting around a bonfire and having a whiskey, which we decided to kind of try to emulate with the podcast. It's all kind of just one big circle. It's sort of, I don't know. There's so many parallels to it, but I love that you guys see that as well. Cause I feel like it's something that's, it doesn't get seen or noticed by everybody.
Yeah. Y'all look thirsty though. So, get in.
Yeah. All right. Well, cheers, sir.
Cheers, deep.
We were supposed to smell it first, huh?
Oh my goodness.
See how he Joe Biden did again? Look at him. He's got his nose in the glass. He's not supposed to do that.
I'm sick and tired of ordinary people being fleeced.
I love it.
They came prepared.
They did come prepared. Oh my goodness.
Oh, it smells so damn good.
It does smell so good.
All right.
So this is released in like 2020 as an export only. But it's an extra aged wild turkey.
Dude.
Like the 13 years, like the 13 year, but I think that one is 13 years actually. But yeah, it wasn't released in the US, but it's lower in proof, so it's an odd thing for wild turkey to do, but I want to know what you think about it. It's
very approachable.
Yeah.
I'll say that. The nose on it's really nice.
Mm-hmm. It's leaving a very good taste in my mouth. I'm not mad about it. I have had some really bad wild turkey 101 nights. This is not one of those things.
Yeah.
Now, back then I didn't appreciate probably bourbon nearly as much as I do now, but
this one kind of reminds me of like a muffin.
A muffin.
Nice.
I'm trying to work on everything we did on our episode, and I'm terrible at it.
No bananas here.
Just takes time. No, there's not a lot of. I don't get any bananas at it either. To me, it's very like I don't drink it any. Like it's cool to have, but to me, it's very kind of bleak, bland. But it does have good flavors. It's just I like the stronger, higher proofs, and being lower proof, it's not going to have a ton of it. So while you sip on that, think about like for us, a lot of listeners are more whiskey sided than serious hunters. So if you were to meet somebody that's just now getting into hunting, like I'm sure you've done that and you've coached people their way through it. Like, do you have a good story or a good way for them to think about how to get into the woods and how to be better about just being a whitetail hunter?
Yeah. So this is actually great timing for this because one of our good friends just shot his first ever archery deer last week.
Yeah. Opening night.
Nice.
No, he was down in 2B.
Was it 2B?
Yeah. It was opening night.
Okay.
Yeah. 100% cheers to him. I mean, it was opening night. Austin's not wrong, but 2B is an area around Pittsburgh here that comes in 2 weeks early. So we'd been grinding on public land down there for, 5 or 6 hunts prior to the season opening statewide in Pennsylvania. And on the opener, while I was up at camp, he was out on his own. Generously gifted a pin by me, but he did all the legwork to get in there and adjusted and actually didn't sit quite exactly where I was at. He moved a little bit and made it happen and shot his first ever deer. So I thought that was really, really cool. And last night, he came out and helped me, and I kind of started to teach him a little bit about the tracking process and what to look for and how to take it slow because he hunts a lot by himself. And, that whole journey has been really fun with him. He's brand new to hunting. I would say 2 full years of actually hunting, and this is he started halfway through the year last year, bought a bow, started bow hunting, and then this year he started full time. From the beginning on, he's been bow hunting. So pretty cool. Um, did you want more of like actual things that we've taught
Well,
him along the way?
I think you said one thing for sure is like no one like a mentor reaching out to somebody that can help you. The giving of a pin thing. A lot of people, there's a lot of everybody knows not to ask for your favorite hunting or fishing spot, but what you'll find when you kind of try to mentor someone, like we're doing that Patreon hunt, I'm going to show everybody spots that I've seen deer. Everybody that comes, they're all going to get a good spot, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a very important part of it. But if they didn't have a mentor like that, um, do you have any advice for like a first time hunter that's getting out there, other than like a hunter safety course?
Yeah, the hunter safety course. I feel like that's kind of one of those things. Oh man. I would honestly say like Charles and I kind of take a little bit of pride in we've had several people that like adult onset hunters that have kind of come to us, like buddies of ours. Like I can think of a couple of them right off the top of my head. And it kind of is one of those things. Like I don't want to just say go find somebody that hunts already, but start talking to some of your buddies and see if any of them hunt, and then kind of go from there. When you show interest in something like that, and somebody is a big hunter, they're gonna want to take you under their wing immediately.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just from experience.
Yeah, I will take it to the next step of what I did, and I'm sorry to do this, Austin, but I'm going to relate it to me learning how to turkey hunt.
Yeah. Okay.
So I didn't have like a turkey mentor. I didn't have people that were really like super solid turkey hunters that I went with often. Austin knew a little bit. He was pretty good. He killed some birds. My oldest brother knew how to call. I used to hunt with him. But when I really decided that I wanted to get all in on this, well, the first place I turned, honestly, was YouTube. I started watching the Hunting Public's turkey tour first year, and it just, dude, I could not get enough. But like super attentive, paying very close attention to the details, and they did a great job of explaining. So they kind of were a mentor, but they're not here with me. So
Right.
you can use your resources. There's so many resources out there. There's podcasts, there's YouTube. The days of the old of watching a hunting video on the Sportsman channel and, reading a magazine article, those are far gone. There's not much to be gained from that either for a lot of people, especially in our area. And that's how people get frustrated quickly and they give up on the sport. For somebody that doesn't have a mentor and they're doing it all on their own, the best advice I can really give you, once you've done your research, you're back, all of your homework, get out there. You have to just get out there. And when you're out there, you have to be paying attention to the animal in which you're observing. Observe as much deer behavior as you possibly can. Screw up as much as you possibly can. And that's what I told him as well. Our buddy that just shot his doe, he was going out there a lot and getting very frustrated. And I was just about to smack him in the back of the head when he finally killed his deer and tell him, like, dude, you can't keep getting frustrated. You're out there for a reason. I'm bringing you down here, sending you off on your own to figure this out. And you get your ass kicked all turkey season and you're perfectly okay and happy with it. But come deer season, it's not even the opening day yet. And you're frustrating, want to throw your bow off a cliff. Like, dude, you have to calm down, take it slow, and just learn the process, learn the behavior of the deer. You just got to be out there. I think that's how everybody's learned.
That's what it's one thing I tell a lot of people is I still do it. I did it. I've done it. I mean, you can ask Gus. I'll send him pictures and videos of these deer walking around that I could kill. I just, I'm not out there. I got plenty of time. Not a big deal. The acorn's getting ready to drop. I know they'll be back for corn after that. And we can corn hunt here, but just watching them, seeing how they react, how they come out. Like if they get spooked, what do? Do they run away? No, they run like 15 yards and they stop and they look back. So if they're 15 yards in front of you and they get spooked and you go, God damn it, and and it's over, like you just lost your chance because now they're not going to stop. They'll usually run and turn, and I mean that's all stuff you learn from being in the woods. But you can even learn it from squirrels, raccoons. They're all animals. They all kind of behave very similar as far as their mannerisms go. But yeah, 100%. YouTube is a great way to look at it.
Yeah. and,
You out
and
already?
having, what's that?
Are y'all out already? Go to the next one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What do you want? What do you want next?
Do the dusty next.
Okay.
Tell me
I'm
the
noticing
difference
it.
of flavors that you
Okay.
get between the two.
I'm noticing a trend. You're starting us with the lowest proof and working up
yeah.
to the highest proof. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I don't
like
want to
it.
blow your palate out at the top.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Gus?
I figured.
What were you saying, Gus?
I was just gonna say that something about being in the woods as much as possible reinforces the basics, right? It's very easy for us to watch these YouTube channels and the Bomars and the this and that, and they talk about all these real intricate technical approaches to land management and hunting and this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, success is always going to boil down to those fundamentals, right? Like location. Are you making a good shot? Are you hunting where there are deer? Are you locating deer and hunting based on actual deer sign? Are you managing your scent in terms of playing the wind, right? Like all those things that we know are very basic things. The more you're in the woods, the more I think you'll find that whether your mentor is a YouTube person or an individual, um, it all comes down to the basics. My turkey mentor, kind of the opposite of yours. I had a bit an individual who was obsessed with turkey hunting, and I spent my first season, probably with the exception of the very last week of turkey season, I spent that whole first season just following him around with no gun in my hand at all. I was in camo and I just shadowed him and watched everything he did, and I learned more in that 3 or 4 weeks than I could have ever learned on a YouTube channel. So yeah, finding a good mentor, whether it's just YouTube and people that are documenting that very well, or somebody that a friend, like you said, that is willing to take you under their wing. And there's almost always somebody who's willing to do that.
Yeah.
Is great for somebody just getting into it.
Yeah. And I'll take it a step farther too. There's a lot of these podcast groups now that are starting Patreon accounts. I know you guys have one. I know we have one. And with that, a lot of times, these people are very local to where the podcast is based, and they're growing. But, you know, I've seen it in other groups that I'm a part of where these guys are starting to get together and hunt and mentor each other. They're starting to kind of talk and interact throughout the podcast Patreon. And it's not just a plug to join a Patreon, trust me. But you can spend $3 a month, $5 a month on some of these Patreons and gain more than you would ever gain, like you said. And it's a virtual mentor. Maybe you can meet up with them and hunt at some point, other people, whatever. But at the end of the day, you're gaining real life experience from people that have been there and done it. And I would say you have to pay attention to little details, but those will come along the way. As much of hearing blue jays cawing aggressively in an area that might alert you that there could be a deer over there. That's something you learn down the road. That's not something you need to know day one.
Plus, the Patreon thing's a great point because, like for us, our cheapest tier is $5, and that gets you in Discord. If you buy a year, it's $54. So $54 for an entire year, and now you have access. And I won't leave a question unanswered. If somebody comes in there and asks a question, there's plenty of talented guys in there that'll give you a good answer, and you'll get answers from all over the country. And then if no one answers, like, I'll at least come in there and be like, let me look it up for you and find
Yeah,
out.
and on top of that, if you're interested in hunting in any of those parts of the country, I don't know anybody in our Patreon that's not willing to
100%.
host and have you come in their neck of the woods and show you around. And there's been opportunities. You hear people talk about planning a hunt to go to this state or that part of the country and what it's going to cost. And these Patreon communities or forums or whatever it is, just offer a network of like-minded people that make that so much easier instead of having to maybe spend half a year or season planning what you're going to do out west to do whether it's elk hunting or mule deer or whatever the case may be. You have someone that lives out there that does that every year, and they're willing to have you come and let you sleep on a couch and take you to the place they've been doing it for 15 years, and you just saved yourself a year of planning and probably $5 or $6 grand in travel costs. So
absolutely,
there's a lot of upside to it.
What do you think about that, Dusty?
Yeah, tell me about that.
Wow,
that is so good.
There's so much flavor.
Good. Immediately.
All trees today are young. We talked about this on yours, but these trees are actually old trees, and they just impart crazy flavors on that old whiskey. Because this was which bottle is that? 97.
Yeah, 97.
So that means it was put in a tree in 1989.
Oh man!
So
Wow.
Wow.
That tree was probably how old, Matt? Like,
150, 200 years old, probably.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like today, they're just not. They're young trees. They just cut them down as soon as they're. Well, we can make a barrel out of that, and they cut it down. But back then, nobody was drinking whiskey, so the barrel thing wasn't really. Because back then, it
Wasn't
was
an
like
issue.
that was what my dad drank. My dad drank Wild Turkey. I'm not drinking that shit. So everybody drank gin and vodka, through the 90s and 2000s, and then we're back into bourbon again. But
It
yeah,
was
when you find those
mixed
old
drink
bottles,
era.
they're the shit. Like if you see a estate sale or something, or somebody old dies, like I'm like, that. Sorry for your loss. But did they have a bar? What's in it? Because you'll
That's
find
a
they
great
bought
point.
stuff 20 years ago and never opened it. It's just sitting there, and
Yeah.
that's what that is. And somebody bought it and it just sat there until they died. and I
No
got it.
shit.
Yeah, my grandfather
is-
passed away when I was I don't know, freshman in college, and I found out when I was a little bit older that in the bottom drawer, or the top drawer rather, of his his chest of drawers in his room, there was a bottle of Crown Royal from the 60s or 70s, which I'm not a huge Crown Royal fan, but I would have certainly tasted that. As well as two joints that were pre-rolled and sitting in his
Try that too.
I was gonna say, so you had a real good night.
no, not me. Unfortunately, that stuff went to my uncle.
Yeah.
But I was younger at the time, and but yeah, it's always funny what you can find in those sort of estate sales. It's good.
I would have never
opportunity to
thought
find
of
some
that.
good stuff. Oh yes, estate
Yeah.
sales are a great place. That's where
Oh, yeah.
there are people who, and Matt can tell you about it more than me probably. They make that's their hobby, is they search and find estate sales all over states and find these crazy bottles.
Secondary market's wild for it. It's dumb.
Yeah. If my wife hasn't hated you guys yet, she will
Coming?
after this.
Oh,
She will after this. Yeah.
We've lost Patreon members before where they're like, you're just too expensive to try and keep up with. And I'm like, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. You don't have to buy anything. And they're like, no, I can't do it. I'm out of whiskey. I just can't do it. And they're not hunters. So they're like, we love everything you're doing. I can't afford to have another habit or another hobby. And I'm like, dude, I totally get it. But luckily these are my only like two real hobbies. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not what I've heard.
Yeah, I got it.
I heard you got a special affinity for Glocks and stuff too.
Oh, dude, man, stupid. I'm over it. I built them. Yeah, I built them, and then I'm like, that's enough,
Matt's got the Dink, the dual income, no kids, DINK.
Yeah.
So he's able to go 150% into a hobby for a few months and exhaust it and get it out of his system, and then be like, all right, I'm done. And then moves on to the next thing. Whereas I get to sit and think about that potential hobby for years at a time before I get to delve into it.
But
he's of my own making, and that's
you're
fine.
lucky because you don't have to do it. Like when I was building Glocks, you were like, I want to build a fucking Glock, and then so everything I sent him was like Glock, 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 Glock.
Yeah,
and then I got out of it. I got
but
I learned everything there is to learn.
Yeah, and the upside of that is that when I get around to wanting to build a Glock, I just get it done right the first time because he's figured out all the wrong fucking ways to do it.
Yep, I did 3 wrong and 2 right.
Yeah, so it's a good relationship. It works out well.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, there is definitely a lot in common between your guys' podcast and the two of you and the two of us, for sure.
Yeah, I would totally
It's
agree with
scary, actually. It's almost like you guys are the southern version of us, or we're the northern version of you. I don't know. Either
I
way.
could tell when we were on your podcast, I was like, these guys, we don't ever do that. 3 hours, that never fucking happens.
Not after. I mean, more outside of email introduction, we hadn't met. So and that's not something that we generally do. That the only podcasts that I can think we've gone that long with have been with people that we have really long-standing relationships with. So it says something about it. I'm sure.
I like it.
Well, we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, it's like
I feel like
the
I'm
same stuff. It's good.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I feel like I'm pretty easy to talk to. I don't know.
Yeah,
I would hope so.
And let's be
not
fair, the majority of your podcast was me rambling. So
Listen, we sat here and just freaking we giggled the whole time and we had a great time, man. Honestly, I've said it 1,000 times, and we've brought your podcast up on just about every podcast since about things that we've learned and whatnot. I mean, even in the last podcast that we had with Back 40 Seed, We were talking to them and we brought up whiskey, and then we were talking about how
We were talking about the white oak
the
barrels.
white oak
Yeah.
shortage and stuff. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it was crazy, man.
It
Yeah.
is funny, like how much when you start to dive into this and you talk to people that you've never talked to about whiskey before, ever. And it's like, yeah, they have the same interest as all of us. And it's really cool. I mean, it just goes to show that you guys, like you said, you freaking nailed it with whiskey and whitetails, man. I mean, you just absolutely freaking nailed it. And I know you've had a podcast in the past before it, and it was like building Glocks, right? Eventually, you just freaking nailed it.
Yeah, we got lucky. It was it all comes back to the community that you build and the people that are around you. Like, you get feedback, and it's like, if you don't hear anything, then either no one's listening or you're doing good. And so, like, we weren't really hearing anything, so we were like, well, I guess nobody's listening. And then when we did the whiskey and whitetails one, it was like we heard everything, we heard everybody, and
Yeah.
we'll still find it now. People will make fun of us for talking about certain things, and you're like, all right, well,
Whatever.
Is what it is. I'll tell you what, we after 5 years, we have finally made it as a podcast and as podcasters. We were up my camp for the
Oh God, you didn't bring that
annual
up.
river float that we do every year. It's like something my family puts on at our camp, and of course it's raining. We go down and we're like, well, let's just go hit this local bar that we typically hit after the float. So we'll sit there and wait out the rain, see if this thing clears up when we hit the river for our float.
The hickory nut.
The hickory nut, and we walk in the door, and someone like quickly jumps out of a bar stool and comes kind of shuffling over towards us and is like, hey, I know you. And I'm like,
nice.
What?
It's either really good or really bad.
Yeah. I was kind of taken aback, and he's like, freaking Whitetail Distraction podcast. I've been listening for years. I was
Nice.
Hell
he's
yeah.
like, you're Charles. And I'm like, yeah. I said, well, then you know Austin, because Austin had kind of had his hood up. He was like right beside me, but he's like, yeah, I know Austin. And I'm like, holy shit. And then now all the people with us were busting our balls, telling us, oh, you're famous, you're
fun.
this, you're that. It made for like such a fantastic environment after that. Austin bought him a round of drinks. Like, we played
That's
shuffleboard, drank, and hung out for the rest of the night, pretty much the rest of the day, because it never stopped raining. But that's how you made it, boys.
Yeah. If someone recognizes, if someone knows you and you don't know them, then there you go. You're famous.
Nice.
Yeah, 100%.
That's good. I'm glad that went
love it.
well for you, because hey, I know you usually results in either a hug or a punch in the face.
Yeah.
And,
I thought he was gonna get stabbed.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect. There was a whole bar full of people, and they're all looking at me because this guy has kind of made a scene now, and it's all his buddies there. I didn't know. They're all just looking at us, and I'm like, what do I do now? And then and when I first saw him and he said that, I recognized him through social media.
Okay.
I was
Nice.
like, I'm pretty sure this is our buddy Chris Krantz, and he introduced himself. I was like, I knew it.
Yeah.
Hell
So
yeah.
it was
Nice.
kind of cool, like you said, social media even creating relationships from a
Yeah, man,
freaking
for sure.
podcast, a hobby.
Are you guys going to get into some of that content creation stuff? Like, I know the Instagram, I don't use Facebook, so I don't know what your Facebook looks like, but I know your Instagram is, it's all podcast promotion. Are you guys thinking about making like little Debbie reels in the woods and becoming influencers?
Listen, man, it's funny that you brought up the Little Debbie, because I thought I was going to have a really cool surprise for Chuck. And I ordered these badass Little Debbie patches, right? I was going to make us these cool ass hats. And I got them in, and I guess the description was wrong. Dude, they are freaking enormous. So now I don't know what I'm going to do with them.
You got to put them on a jacket or the back.
Well, I
of
was
a
going to say
hoodie.
leather vest, maybe.
Put them on the back of your saddles.
Hell
Stitch them
yeah.
onto the back of your saddles.
Dude, that would be hilarious.
That's so funny. Oh man.
It's funny since our conversation. Like, I ate Nutty Buddies like crazy when I was a kid. Right, it was like one of my favorite snacks. Then as I got older, you eat a bunch of something and you just kind of stop eating it. Since our discussion, I haven't eaten a ton of them, but I see them everywhere now. It's like, I don't know if it's just like something that's in the forefront of my mind. And so my son, my kids are in Scouts, and they've been selling popcorn in the front of Sam's Club. And I swear to God, I've been there 3 times now, and every time I see a half dozen people come out with these giant, huge boxes of Nutter Butter, and all I can think to myself is, that guy must hunt. The guy's definitely
Listen to the
hunting.
Whitetail Distraction podcast.
It's funny because I don't even remember where I was. I think I was at my kid's soccer practice the one day, And I got a text from Matt, and it was just a picture of him like walking out of the store, and it was Little Debbie, like the fall blend. And I was like, yes, got another one.
Uh-huh.
I try not to eat that shit, but I ate an entire box of Star Crunches since Sunday. What's today? Wednesday. Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah, our fault for that one.
we're just gonna
sorry.
change the name to Whitetail Diabetes.
Yeah, that's what or I'll be right there with you. I'll be fan number 1.
I'm sorry
I
it
got
hasn't worked
diabetes.
for you yet.
We're just gonna start a second podcast called Deer and Diabetes.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
You see
Do
Sean
you guys
Lundy's,
want to start something?
We can.
The hardcore
see-
snackers.
Sean Lundy's son. Have you seen his screen name?
No,
It's like
Mm-mm.
it's something like that, Little Debbie Hunter or something.
I don't know shit.
That's like the screen name he picked. It just
That's
shows it's all of
hilarious.
us.
Yeah, since we've talked about it, I've been seeing Little Debbie stuff everywhere now.
Yeah,
It's all over my phone.
It's the phone algorithm. They got us.
Yeah, they're listening.
Well, it's funny.
I
You
also
guys
think it's-
think that we influenced you on the Little Debbie's, but I was actually at the store the other day and bought the exact same pack as Matt. So you're influencing me, man.
Hell yeah. It's also one of those things like you buy a silver Ford pickup truck, and now I see silver Ford pickup trucks all over the place. Like they were always
100%.
there. Now I see them all, and I think that's what it is. You get something like I'll learn a new word that I'm like, no one knows this word. And like 3 days later, I'll hear it, and I'm like, what? Just learn that.
It's crazy once you open your brain up to something, how many times you realize it, that your normal day would just went by. That silver pickup would have just drove by you and never
Never
recognized it.
noticed.
Never.
Yep.
Just
All right,
crazy.
Did you pour the last one?
We did. We poured the Russell's Reserve. This is
All
the
right,
one
so
you
I-
picked.
I picked this. What time is it? It's 36:52. I'm gonna for everybody watching on YouTube, you can look up above you right now and you will see a link to go watch this video after you're done with this podcast. So I made a video on it and it went absolutely nowhere because the thumbnail sucked.
Oh no.
So I might update the thumbnail. We don't really care about YouTube that much.
Yeah.
It's a necessary evil, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So with this
All right.
higher proof, and this is the
Cheers.
bottle.
Ooh, that smells good too.
Oh,
You
the
know who
Bill
that
Murray
is?
sticker. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
just
it
saying.
smells really good.
It's very
You know who-
caramely.
You know
You
who
guys-
this is?
You guys know who that is on the sticker?
I can't see that far. Can you see that far? I mean, oh, that's
it's
Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Is that Bill Murray? Yes.
So did you,
Yeah,
did you guys
dude.
know that he lives in the Charleston area?
Does he really?
No,
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
watched that movie, and he was clearly not in Charleston when they went to his
Awesome.
house.
Are you thinking about Zombieland?
Zombieland.
Yeah. So he's part owner of the Charleston River Dogs, which is like a minor league baseball team here.
Mhm. Yes.
He plays golf locally. He'll randomly just like pop into bars downtown and restaurants and shit. It's pretty wild.
He came
but,
to an event we were at like a market and we were peddling our shit and he walked up and I didn't say anything to him. I talked to him about our stuff and he was like, well, thanks for telling me about it. And I said, have a good day, Mr. Murray. And he turned around and was like, oh, you recognize me? And I was like, yep. He was like, usually people beg for selfies. I was like, no, man, yeah, enjoy your day, dude. I hope you have a good one. And he was like,
That's freaking awesome.
Because he got to have like a normal conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Bill fucking Murray.
Yeah.
Casa de Murray.
Casa de
Mhm.
Murray. That is awesome. Though. I feel like I would do the same thing, man. I don't want to bug you.
No, I don't either.
It's cool to see you. Hey, how you doing? You got
Yeah.
a cool story now, but like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the memory of that conversation in my brain is all that I need.
I can relate.
I ran
I had
down
a-
one
I had a
famous person in my
real-
life. Go
Who's
ahead.
that?
Us?
Austin?
No. It was Pete Rose.
Yeah.
Charlie
sweet.
Hustle, Pete Rose. I was in Vegas and I didn't even know. We were just walking through and he was doing a signing because apparently that's the only way he makes money anymore.
Yeah. Fitting that it
And-
would be in Vegas.
Right.
Yeah.
And he was walking through with like, his bouncers or whatever with him. And I was like, holy shit, that was Pete Rose. Like, I got to get a picture with this dude.
Yeah.
So I, clown me. I turn around. I was like, dude, do you mind? Well, actually, I didn't ask him. I asked one of his bouncers. I was like, hey, do you think he would care? Like, obviously, he's walking through a casino. Do you think he'd care if I get a picture with him? He's like, go ask him. I'm like, shit, okay. I'm like, hey, Mr. Rose, like, hey, do you mind? Like, I'm real sorry. He's like, dude, I was just at a signing for 4 hours. Like, where were you? And I'm like, I had no clue. I just got here. I'm sorry. Like, I totally missed it. it's cool, no big deal. And he's like, get over here, man. He'd pull me over and got a picture of Pete Rose.
That's cool.
Yeah, he was
You
actually
probably
cool
liked
as
it
shit.
more that you recognized him as opposed to you knew he'd be at a show, at a signing.
Right. Like I had no clue he was at a signing for 4 hours. I just walked into the place and there was Pete Rose.
Anybody on here fans of How I Met Your Mother?
It's
Oh
not a
yeah,
bad show.
love that show.
Bryan Cranston and that, he's like this big architect, and he has this case with a baseball on it, and it says Pete Rose, Pete Rose, Pete Rose baseball, signed 3 times by Pete Rose.
Yeah.
Pete Rose is the fucking man. I don't care what anybody says. I'm a huge Pete Rose fan. I've been called, well, I mean, my name's Charles. I've been called Charlie Hustle pretty much my whole life. And I'm a big fan of Pete Rose for sure.
Yeah. He's an iconic.
This is
dude.
delicious, by the way. Very
Thanks.
good. It's
What do you like about it?
It's a little hot for my normal stuff that I drink. You know, but there is a ton of flavor in it.
A lot more spices in it.
Ton of flavor.
And I mean, I usually don't drink much neat either, but I'm a huge fan. I mean, honestly, everything we've tried tonight's been really good. But I don't know. I don't know what I like about it. I just know that I like it.
So Matt did a good job of priming your palate for that higher proof, so it wasn't so like in your face, kind of punch to the mouth, like by sort of slowly ramping up the proof, and it allows you to enjoy the higher proof for what it is. Because a higher proof whiskey, even though it does, it can, you know, have more of that burn, more of that heat to it. That heat, that burn can bring out other flavors that you won't get otherwise. So it's if when you're doing a tasting, if you do it right, you can use that to your advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It also
I can
doesn't
see
blow
that.
your palate out because you won't be able to taste anything after that. Everything else will just taste like whiskey.
Well, I've actually I tested that because I figured that's how it would be, and I have a glass of Larceny poured over here, and I tried it, and I was like, yeah, there's nothing there.
Water.
It's water. It's
Water.
honest to God, I tried it. I was like, I'm gonna try this and see, and yeah, it is. That's a combination of me getting drunk at this podcast.
That still tastes like Miller Lite.
Yeah,
Still tastes like cat piss, huh?
I drink Miller Lite. Hey, calm down.
Well, you know,
Birds of a feather.
yeah, it's not bad out of a keg. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
Right now, I'd probably like it.
It's delicious. I
Like,
wish
that's
I had
awesome.
one. I thought about going to get one, but yeah, I don't want to leave you.
I got one here. You want one?
Yeah, I'll take it. You brought a sixer? That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, those are all his, as you could tell.
Hell yeah.
They're not mine. They're definitely not mine. Although I brought these for you, so.
Oh, really?
No, you don't get to keep them. I
was going to say, holy hell, you're a good friend, man.
So
one of y'all
tell me about.
yesterday is
I
what
want to know. Oh yeah. We can go Whitetails, I guess. Yeah. I did. It's been a long, short season so far. Like I mentioned, you know, our season came in 3 weeks ago, technically. Well, not even 2 weeks ago for our early season. Yeah. So I was down there, probably 4 hunts. I missed a deer, and then I was kind of bummed out about it. I mean, it was a late shot. I shouldn't have taken it. So coming into the regular season, it was a great opening day. I hunted the ground in the morning and saw 4 bears at like 25 yards. Nice. Which was not fun. It was awesome. Don't get me wrong, but I did not have my gun on me, and I was bow hunting from the ground, and there was a mom with 3 cubs. So I was like, yeah, let me just let those go by. It's good, man. So I'm still alive. I'm still here, which leads me to last night. After the day before, it's been hot here. So our whole like 2-3 weeks leading up to the season's been cool, beautiful, 40s in the morning. 60s in the afternoons. Like, dude, the best hunting weather imaginable. Perfect. And then opening day hits and it was like 72, 73 high, and it's been 80 degrees as a high ever since, which, yeah, I know. It's not, I know. It's not South Carolina.
It's a cold front for you guys.
That would be beautiful for you. But when you go from 40s and 60s to 60s and 80s, that's a big jump on deer movement. I mean, it kind of puts it to a halt.
Dude, 68-degree mornings. I'm looking at that fireplace like maybe, you know, like I might turn it on.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, we have this cold front rolling in this weekend. I think it was supposed to be Monday, but now pushed back to Tuesday. It's going to be in the 30s in the morning.
Yeah.
I
fuck
cannot wait.
off.
The highs are in the 40s. It's going to be
I'm thinking about calling
stupid.
off.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's going to be
deer's
like
gonna
that
be
first
moving.
cold front in October.
Are your acorns dropping yet?
Dude,
Yes.
unbelievable.
Yes. So
Ours are
that
fucking hailing right now.
that leads perfectly into the story. So my whole idea last night was it's hot. I'm going to target a known big giant oak tree that I've hunted over in the past, and it's right in this creek bottom. And it's typically it's down in this little kind of depression, and then creek runs through it, and it winds and bends all over. And I figure it's gonna be cooler down there. There's a food source, there's a water source. I gotta get in there. So I went in, I took my e-bike, even though it was like a 300, 400 yard walk at that. But I did it for a purpose. I wanted to take the e-bike in, one, obviously not to sweat and kill myself, but two, if the tree that I was targeting wasn't dropping acorns, I was going to go to the back of the property in which I knew there was a bunch of different oaks. It wasn't just one, there was a whole bunch of them, and I'm sure they're dropping back there. So I got in there and I started looking around. I found a little bit of acorn sign, but there is literally a circle around this tree where it's just barren earth. I mean, it's just
Beat down.
dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
like
Yeah.
everything else is green around this tree, and it is a giant, I'm talking 200, 300-year-old tree. This thing has to be 12 feet plus around. I mean, it's huge, huge oak tree. And I'm like, all right, I'm getting in there. But the wind is weird. It's blowing towards the creek, which is fine. It's perfect. And I'm looking around. I'm like, I need to be right here. There's no trees right where I need to be. Literally 0 trees. Not like, well, I can't get in that one. I can't get. There's no trees. So I'm like, well, this sucks. So based off of past experience, I typically come left to right. I moved in a little bit farther past where I normally would set up, just because when I normally set up, the wind would have been blowing right towards where the deer are coming in from, and it made no sense. So I had to go past it and find a tree. Well, I finally found an ugly ass tree. It's bending left. It's got a broken limb and it has a split probably 20 feet up. It's like, all right, let me get to where my head's at the split. I'm going to stand where that broken limb was, and I hope the deer just think I'm the limb that broke off. That was my idea. And it's a huge tree. Yeah, it's one of them trees that even before the split, I'm reaching around. I can barely touch finger to finger to grab my rope and get around it. And it's a little ugly. I mean, it's leaning left, and it was a tough setup, but I finally got in perfect. I'm looking down into the woods. I'm expecting deer to come into my face. I'm on Polo with our Patreon group, and I'm catching up on videos. It's an app we use. It's like a video app, kind of like Snapchat with live videos. I'm catching up on the videos with our whole group. Yeah, highly recommend for your Patreon, by the way, if you guys don't have something like that. It is like the greatest way of communication ever. Back me up on that?
Oh, yeah, totally.
100%.
Write it down.
Marco Polo is what it's called. Yeah. So anyways, I'm on there. I'm listening to videos. I'm sweating my butt off. I climb my tree. I'm up in there, and I look over my left shoulder and I see a deer moving. I'm like, holy shit, it's like 10 after 5. I still got a couple hours left. Like, there's a deer already up and moving. Well, she disappears. I'm throwing my face mask on real quick. She disappears. I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to hang out here and I'll wait and see what happens. And I'm just kind of sitting there enjoying my own business. And I hear the blue jays, like I mentioned early in the podcast, and they start going off in the swamp behind me. And I'm like, okay, that's probably that deer I saw. He went to the creek, got a drink, might come back out and hit this acorn or hit this oak tree for the acorns. So as I'm kind of peeking to my left, I just hear commotion out, and this deer comes running in, like crazy running in. I'm like, holy shit. And I panic, grab my bow, and immediately draw. Like, I'm going to have to, stop this deer and try to get a shot last second.
Yeah.
Totally panicked, way too early. She stops, starts looking behind her. She's 20 yards from my opening. I'm like, all right, asshole, let down. So I let down. She keeps coming across, and as she gets to my opening, I draw back again, and she's like 40-ish yards, and she walks through the first opening, and she stops behind a bunch of brush, and she's just kind of feeding on acorns. Like, okay, let down again. So let down. I'm trying to collect myself. I'm like, you really need to calm down right now. This is literally a doe. I understand it's like you know, first opportunity other than the one I missed. And, you know, we'll get past that. And I'm like, come on, just calm down, relax. And I'm hitting things with my rangefinder, like, okay, we're good. So she steps out in an opening. It's 35 yards on the money. I have a pin for 35 yards, 3-pin slider. I'm good. Second pin down, we're okay. I draw back, get into it, relax. She's standing there feeding. She's kind of taking one step at a time slowly. And I cannot get this pin settled on her vitals. I just can't. I'm like, I don't feel comfortable taking this shot right now. So once again, she takes 2 more steps. She's out of my lane. I let down. Now I'm really pissed because she works up and it seems like she's going to work out into the field that I came in from, which is half clover, half corn. Well, technically it's a third clover, third corn, third clover as it works up the hill. I'm like, all right, well, she's probably going to feed off and disappear. Something bumps her. I have no idea what. She comes trotting down right towards me. Like, all right, this is getting good. So finally she goes into this bunch of brush and I'm kind of waiting to see which side she's going to pop out on. And she comes through this brush and stands in a hole in between these trees. And I'm figuring it 25 yards. So I draw back, settle in, rock solid, 25-yard pin, quartering away. I'm aiming at my exit. Probably one of the things I've told myself the entire night that night was like, aim for your exit. You know what you're doing here. Stop just aiming at a deer, aim for your exit. So I put it on that opposite shoulder, let it rip, and it just absolutely buried. In through the last rib, all the way up, hits the backside shoulder, buries into her, arrows
Nice.
go into her, jumps up, takes off like scalded cat, just buries into the swamp. Like, all right, badass. I'm like, all right, that felt good. I'm pretty sure that's a dead deer. Jump on the polo, tell the boys, like, all right, I got one down. But when she ran, she actually bumped. There was another deer back there, which I'm pretty confident is the first deer I saw that night. And it's a much bigger deer. I can just see the body, and it takes a couple bounds kind of towards the field, towards me-ish. So I had to kind of reel in my excitement a little bit, get my heart rate back down. And I'm sitting there, I'm on the pool, like this deer could still come in. Waiting, trying to see what was going to go on. I finally was like, I got to take a break on my feet. Saddle hunting. I just put my knees into my backpack, taking a little rest. So I'm sitting there, not thinking anything's going to come from behind me because the wind is just blowing dead downwind from my face directly over my shoulder. There's a trail there, but I'm not expecting any deer. Well, finally, towards the end of the night, it's probably closer to 7-ish, I would think at this point. I just look over my back shoulder and there's a deer at 25 yards coming right at me.
Wow.
Dead downwind. I'm like, holy shit. Did not expect that. I was already fighting with myself whether I would shoot another deer that night because it's hot. It's a lot of work to process not only one deer, but 2 deer in a night.
Mm.
So I'm like, well, the demons, they had different plans. When,
Yeah.
when I saw that deer, it was like everything got erased. It was just straight kill mode. I mean, slowly ground my bow. This time I actually turned on my GoPro, tried to face it that direction. I haven't even checked the footage yet to see if it's on there. Slowly just shifted my hips. She's straight 6 o'clock. Shifted my hips, grabbed my bow. She's working in, and you can kind of tell she knows something's up, but I can tell this is a younger deer. I'm like, all right, we're good. It's by itself. Both these deer, totally by themselves. Like, all right, we're fine. We're okay. She comes in 15 yards, starts to turn broadside. I draw back. She takes 1 step to her right and gives me a hard quartering at shot, which I really could have taken the shot, but I didn't want to. I was like, she'll give me an opportunity. She either takes 1 step right, I'm fine. It's broadside. Well, she actually wheeled in place and took 2 steps to her left and exposed everything. And I just settled in on her, zipped an arrow through her. I mean, just clean straight through, perfect shot, absolutely crushed her. And she whipped around and just barreled through some of the nastiest shit I have ever seen. I got cuts all over me. Like, she just barreled towards the creek.
No, man.
Like, all right, that deer is dead. 100,000%. Like, that deer does not stand a chance. Sure enough, recovered her in like 50 yards. It took us probably 45 minutes because everything we were tracking through was either briar 10 feet over your head, these real shrubby, everything around the creek there is just super thick. I mean, there's grass probably, neck high to chest high, and you're just basically holding the flashlight up above the grass, looking at the blood on the grass. A great tip, by the way, if you're trying to track and that
100%.
stuff, just hold that flashlight up high and just shine it straight down. That blood, it shines a lot better that way. Finally found her, and then we just drug her out that way. There was a road over there for access, so I drug her out that way.
Yeah.
Came back, found the other one in another 50. And neither one went more than 50 yards. Got her out of there and headed to my brother's for a little butcher party, little garage butcher party.
How long did that take?
Not long. Those deer were so small, man.
Yeah.
Veal venison is what they will be packaged as.
Veal venison. Nice.
Yeah, veal venison.
Well, at least you got 2 for the freezer already. I haven't.
Yeah.
Neither of us have done anything.
It's fun to get those out of the way early and kind of redeem myself on the miss early, and we preach it all the time. Like, it's fun to get those, 1 or 2 doe out of the way early and just get back in it. Now I can start kind of chasing some of the bucks we have on camera and really focusing, especially with the better weather next week. I feel like those deer are going to be more on their feet.
What do y'all do up there once the acorns are gone?
Ooh, that's a switch. It depends if it's a good acorn year or not, because this year there's so much food because the oaks are dropping. We have a banner apple year. The hickories are dropping. Beech are dropping. Like, there's so much food. It's unbelievable. You really got to be on the X.
Yeah. I would say the hickories are insane, but one spot I'm really excited about for later in the year is a whole like fortress of crabapple trees and pin oaks.
Yeah.
Those 2 late in the year, after they've gone through the white oaks, they've gone through the bur oaks, the red oaks, those pin oaks start dropping and those crab apples start dropping.
Crab apples are dropping already, man.
Yeah, it's crazy good how those can be, better later on in the year. But,
We have the same thing here with the pin oaks. I always make sure I know where they are for late season.
Definitely.
That's the important thing about we've talked about that, doing like a woodsmanship kind of podcast series where it's like, I bet the average person doesn't know the difference between a pin oak and a red oak and wood oak and when they drop. Every once in a while you see like little Instagram videos of some old dude telling you, but it's like ancient knowledge at this point. Most people don't know it, especially people that can hunt over corn.
It's tough because there's different. I mean, there's one like water oak there. I've seen the first ever, I think, bur oak this year scouting a new property in Ohio.
Nuts too.
They're insane. The hickories are ridiculous right now. I mean, there's so many hickory nuts out there. It's crazy. What else? There's
white oaks dropping, red oak, black oak. I mean, our oaks that's kind of the nice part about being up here in Pennsylvania. We have so many different oaks that you can focus on, and if that's not happening, like you said, the hickory nuts and then the beech nuts are going crazy, and it's pretty wild this year, man. I'm kind of nervous because there's so much food. My hunt this weekend was kind of based off of food, and there was too much food, I think. I mean, it just was like, it was nuts.
That got me this past weekend too. I was in an area where, I kid you not, in a 10 by 10, I'll bet you there was 400 acorns. And I didn't see a deer. I mean, I saw a deer, but it was 150 yards away. Like, there was acorns everywhere. So it's like, how do you get on the X? Like Austin said, it was crazy.
Deafening where I was. There were so many apples dropping. I mean, I got psyched out so many times. It was just like raining apples in there. 4 different apple trees and a hickory nut, and they were dropping all night. Just do 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 do. It was crazy.
Yeah. It's fun to know where to go, especially when late season comes in. Everybody's kind of calmed down and the woods aren't as busy because it seems like down here anyway, like come December, there's nobody out.
Yeah. Our late season, it's really tough. I mean, even in, our late season, basically the way it works here, you have 7 weeks of archery season and then it goes out, and then your gun season comes in for 2 weeks and then it goes out. And then right after Christmas, the day after Christmas, our late season comes in for 3 weeks, Austin.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
It's like 3 weeks, and it's archery or, flintlock season, traditional black powder flintlock season. And that's fun because like the deer are all grouping up again and you can kind of get on big groups of deer. But if you don't have a late season food source, like maybe a cornfield that didn't get
Mhm.
Yeah.
cut for whatever reason. There's those. If you can find that time of year, ridiculously good.
Yeah.
There's what
Do they
Go ahead.
plant your game lands? Like they plant ours. Like we have fields out here where the DNR will just plant out in public land.
Sometimes.
It depends. It's so hit or miss.
Yeah.
Our game lands around us personally are very small. A lot of the fields are not planted.
I can think of one that gets corn, but it's basically just a big horseshoe.
Yeah, it's very, very minimal. You're not seeing a whole lot of that for late season forage on game lands.
Yeah.
If you're lucky, there's a private field somewhere on a neighboring property or something that, for whatever reason, they didn't cut a strip of it. But typically, there's not much for late season food. You got to kind of be. I have a food plot thing that we've planted, I guess, this year that'll have like radishes and some stuff on it for later in the year. But clover plots, anywhere there's clover, that's always year round good food source.
I would say
heard
the
of
big thing
people-
if
Go ahead.
I would say the big thing if you don't have food in the late season, just kind of thinking back to those historical areas where you've seen deer or getting some of those travel corridors
Mhm.
makes out for a mean set.
Those old cut bean fields too are pretty good.
Yeah.
Even though they've been cut for months, they kind of revisit those.
Yep.
There's something in there that I think little nubs growing up in those fields after
Yeah.
they've been cut and harvested that I think they're eating on. But
It's a huge benefit for y'all too, having mountains and valleys and like we don't everything here is completely flat. It's a really hard place to hunt because there's no true choke points because these deer, as you know, they'll move through the thickest of the thick. So you start looking around, you're like, that might be a deer, but it could also be like coyotes ran through there. It looks well traveled, but there's so many well traveled. It's like, when was it well traveled? Yeah, it's difficult.
Whenever-
I was gonna ask about because for duck season, I've heard tell of a feller that put a yellow raincoat down on a pond, and the ducks thought it was corn, and they swooped in, and then they shoot them. So I was wondering if you've ever tried putting a yellow raincoat down to attract deer, see if they thought it was corn.
No.
I heard you guys tell that story.
Our
on the
game
podcast.
commission is so that man, they're so strict on stuff like that. Like I feel like they would consider that artificial baiting,
Yeah,
and they write you a ticket
Probably.
for it because
Yeah.
they are just out there, and they're under attack right now too. There's a bill in the House right now that they are trying to take, I think, $170 million or something like that from the Game Commission fund, and they're in full force.
well, this is an interesting topic actually to see how y'all think. So the thing about like grip and grins and kill shots and putting all that stuff out there, there's one train of camp that says that we should do it because it's showing that we took the life and you're this is how it works. I mean, animals die for us to eat them. And then there's the other side of the camp, all hunters, by the way, that say that if you do that, what you're doing is giving basically bullets and ammunition for people that want to get rid of hunting and get rid of conservation. So they're just taking all of our little highlight kill shots and they're looping them all together and they're just showing gore and gore and gore. How do you guys approach it? What do you think about it?
I would say, like, the biggest thing, if you're gonna do it, be tasteful about it. Like, if you shoot something and its lungs hanging out, maybe don't take a picture of it, put it on Instagram.
Right.
I've always been a big proponent of, like, tuck the tongue back in its
Yeah.
mouth and stuff like that. You don't want that thing hanging out there. It just looks bad. Looks bad for everybody. I can kind of see both sides of the story to it. Like, the anti-hunters wanting to use it, like, they're like, "Why are you smiling? You just killed something." I'm happy.
Right.
I'm happy. It's something that I look forward to every year. I worked hard to get this done. It's an accomplishment. So yeah, I am smiling. On the other side of the fence, man, it's what we do. I mean,
Yeah.
I like to share pictures. If it wasn't on Instagram, think back in the day, I used to carry around a little, like, when I went to school, a little photo album. If I shot a deer that year, and there'd be 100 pictures in there of me, like different poses, like
Yeah.
like I'm proud of what I do. I mean, it's
Mhm.
something I want to share with people, but at the same time, definitely be tasteful about it.
Yeah, I would go on a limb and say that I am not on either one of those sides of the strong one way or the other, because I feel like if you're a strong, I don't care what anybody says, I'm going to post whatever the hell I want, and you're posting all these stupid, gory videos, dumb videos. I think you are wrong. I think that there's a right way of posting things and a wrong way of posting things. And shedding a good light on what we do only helps us. And it's not a battle against the anti-hunters because you will never change their mind. It's a
Right.
battle for the middle ground. You are battling to win over people that know you, know the type of person you are, and then know you hunt. And they are going to support you for that because they know who you are. The people I work with, none of them hunt. We do a WIFCA every week. We have a meeting on Wednesday mornings, and we do a WIFCA, what I feel good about. And they ask about, what's your WIFCA? And I said, you know what, I got a personal one. I shot 2 deer last night, and they were all like super supportive. None of them hunt, but I just want to. And after the call, 2 or 3 people, hey, I got deer in my yard that I need to get rid of. They're killing my plants. Will you come kill them?
Hell yeah. Hell
Right?
yeah. That's what I feel good about.
Yeah. So like that is a huge win because I approached it the right way. I didn't say, yeah, I freaking slaughtered and murdered
Yeah.
a couple Bambis. If I would have said that to that group, it would not have come across the right way. There's pictures you show to your buddies and there's pictures you show to the rest of the world on social media.
Right. Yeah.
And there should be a fine line. Obviously, I'm not on the other side of it that, the anti-hunting side clearly, but there is a right and wrong way of doing everything you do. And if you just sit back and think, does that look like too much? Maybe I shouldn't. I mean, even my picture that I ended up getting last night, I didn't take a field picture. I took one at my brother's house, and there's a little more blood than I would have liked to show. But I like Austin said, I tucked the tongue in and try to do the right things. And after I reviewed, it was the only good picture that he took that wasn't blurry. So I was like, I gotta kind of post it. It's the
Yeah.
only one.
Yeah.
I would have. I'm not going to sit there and pretty up my deer and take my saddle off and put it in front of them and take my platform off and put it in front of them. And, I'm not going to do that. I'm not that guy.
Good product
But
placement.
I try to take a respectable picture and post it.
So I think I think we all think the exact same way. I think that there's going to be a picture that I take immediately that you get, Gus gets, I'm like, look what I just did. And then, like, that's not going to go anywhere. But, I think there's going to be a time where I dress it up, pull the legs in, clean the blood off a little bit kind of. But I've even done it like that deer Rocco shot. I photoshopped the entry and exit wound. I just photoshopped it out, so you can't see it. Not that I care. I just, it's not my deer. So I don't want to be putting out, I don't want to get him in trouble. And I think it's all about the audience. But yeah, man, I mean, it is a bloody thing, and it's not a harvest. It is a kill. You're taking the life of an animal, and I think it's deeply personal, and it's something that strikes a chord with me when I do it. I'm very thankful. But fuck yeah, man, I'm excited. I put a lot of work in, a lot of money, a lot of time and effort in order to get this pure meat that hasn't been. Well, I don't know about y'all. I think they're getting ready to put birth control in your deer, but down here they're not. But I saw an article about that the other day. They were putting birth control on a Pennsylvania deer.
This isn't Long Island.
I've heard about this. No, I've heard about this. It's
it was Long Island. I think. I don't think it was Pennsylvania, but
I think it was. Yeah.
But yeah, it's I mean, I think if you're respectful about it, whatever respectful is to you, I think that's probably good enough. Like
let me go a step farther too, because a step past this would be, I'm also not going to be the guy that attacks the guy on social media for posting a bloody, gory picture openly and tries to shred him, because that's also not good. And another point I forgot to make as well, which I hate and I've seen a lot of, are these pages that are taking the worst of hunting and they are doing the job of an anti-hunter by bringing these things to light and reposting them to purposely bash hunters.
Yeah.
And in a way, it's like, okay, at first it was funny. Now you're literally just doing the job of an anti-hunter, and you're separating hunters by doing something stupid like this. Like that, I will not support at all. People taking these terrible things and then just putting them on blast just for clickbait. I mean, all they're looking for is likes,
just to piss people off and get them to see like, this is look how stupid this hunter was, like the hunter fails clips. Yeah. I'm the same way, man. It's like, did you see the, like a lot of pages posted it. It wasn't a minigun, but it was some kind of like full auto machine gun, and they were blasting away hogs. Did you see that?
I did,
Yeah.
and
It was
it was like in
everywhere.
a Jeep or something. I'm pretty sure.
I don't think
Is that the
I don't
one?
think I like it. Yeah, that's the one. I don't think I like
Yep.
that. Like I know they got to die. It's an invasive species. We got to kill them all. I'm fine with killing them all. But
Mhm.
doing that's not good shot placement. Those aren't ethics that we practice as hunters. And I
Right.
think blasting the back end off of a hog and moving on with a fully automatic weapon, I don't think I agree with posting that. If you want to do it, whatever, it's your property. And they are invasive and they are tearing up your crops and you're losing money. I
Yeah.
get you.
Yep.
But yeah, putting stuff like that out, I can't get behind it. I just
Yeah.
it's just
I
too
would
much.
say if you're at a booth at a trade show and you're trying to sell a product and that's what you're showing on your video there, by
Yeah.
all means, you're in your company with people of like-minded.
Right.
Go ahead, show that video there. Don't post
Yep.
it on social media that
Right.
goes viral and 4 million people see it or 40 million people see it.
Yeah.
It's
The
just,
hog
I
thing's
agree with you.
always been that way, right? You remember hog videos were always like underground. You never saw those on social media.
Right.
It was like somebody that showed you a gnarly video of a catch dog going after a pig and they're stabbing it to death with a sword.
Mhm.
Like that was
Yeah.
always, you only get that through text message. You're not or some sketchy website. It wasn't it. But now it seems like people post that pretty freely, and I think that's not good either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would totally agree with that.
It's a Debbie
God,
Downer
that last
conversation.
drink. Ooh, I'm sad it's gone. I honestly wanted to pour some of these back into the bottle and save them for later.
Those were
Now we just-
honestly, I give you props, Matt. These were
Hey, thanks.
all very, very yummy. I appreciate
glad
you
you
guys
liked it.
sending those.
Yeah.
Well, if we ever do a hunt camp together, I'll bring some special stuff.
Yeah, buddy.
I'll throw it out there since you said you had a Patreon hunt. We also have a Patreon hunt. I would extend it to you guys. We do a turkey hunt in the spring in West Virginia, and it is a blasty blast.
Really?
It's
Yes,
usually
sir.
really cold, terrible rain or snow conditions, but dude, it is fun.
Turkey hunting in the snow, huh? What's that
Yeah,
like?
man.
Like 3 years in a row now, and we've been doing it.
What do you do? The same setup? You're just in the snow?
Yeah.
Yeah, they still act the same. They're
They
still
gobble
turkeys.
and all that? They're still
Yeah.
spring
Oh,
gobblers?
yeah. Yeah.
that's
on the
crazy.
on the limb, they go nuts. When they hit the ground, it usually quiets up pretty quick. But
I'll send you a video, not from last year, the year before. We were literally getting pelted in the face with snow. And I'll send you the video. Charles yelped a couple of times, and dude, I'll bet there's 70 or 80 gobbles in this video, and it's probably
Wow.
25 seconds long.
it's just a gobble train, just goes down the ridge and then back the ridge.
What?
Dude, it's
Oh, dude,
bananas,
it's
man.
sick.
As a warm
Sick.
weather hunter, I'm going to freeze to death, but I'm down.
Yeah, you will. You will freeze
I know
to
Gus
death.
Gus would go. He must have gone to the bathroom, but he's the turkey hunter.
Yeah, I find a
Russ
way to
Greger.
bring turkey hunting into conversation year round, so I apologize for that. Even though it is Whitetails in both of our names, we're gonna have to find a way to add turkeys. We've been talking about creating like a side gig with the turkey distraction for a while now. I think it's this spring. It finally has to come to
I
fruition.
don't know, man. Just do it under your podcast though. Don't start a whole another one. Yeah.
No. Yeah, no. It would just be like a little like fun side thing where we make some hats and t-shirts.
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
100%. Well, I mean, you can't whitetail hunt year round, so we obviously turkey hunt this. But you should tell Gus. I'm going to go pee as well. Tell Gus about the turkey thing, so the listeners can hear it twice.
So listeners can hear it twice. Gus, we were just talking, man. Like, you guys had brought up that you guys have a Patreon hunt. We also do
Yeah.
a Patreon hunt every year.
Oh, cool.
We do West Virginia turkey in the spring,
Oh,
and
no
it's
shit.
usually
Yeah.
terrible weather. It's usually raining or snowing, and it's cold. But dude, it is so much fun, man. We've
Yeah.
got on birds every year. It is unbelievable.
Yeah, we usually rent a couple cabins right there at there's a little camping site like right off the game lands. It's all
Cool.
public, and dude, there are so many birds. It's insane. Typically, this last year, I'll be honest, the bird numbers were pretty down, but we all had opportunity. I think Austin, you missed.
I missed one right off the roost.
Yeah, like right off the roost. I think a buddy of mine missed one. I had one at 20 yards, but I was filming. Like, dude, it's so much fun. West Virginia is a blast.
Yeah.
If you've never hunted the state of West Virginia, it's all
No.
hills and turkey. That's pretty much all West Virginia has
And a
to offer.
pile of deer, man.
Yeah.
The other nice part about this, the tag is like $160, and you get a deer tag for the fall.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I love
It's
turkey
crazy.
hunting, man. There's nothing like being in the turkey woods in the spring. There's just something some of the most incredible encounters that I've had with wildlife have been in the turkey woods.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm 100% down with doing that, something like that. That sounds awesome.
It's
It,
fun,
it
man.
would be a blast.
We've got a Patreon guy that lives. Well, he used to be in West Virginia. He's across the border now in Maryland.
Yeah.
But he's been begging for us to come shoot a bear for like 3 years. He's been asking me to come whitetail hunt with him for longer than that.
That's
make it
wild, man.
Yeah, definitely need to make it happen. There's a ton of bear, especially in West Virginia, and they run them with dogs and stuff. It's fun. That
Really?
would be a blast. Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy. That's one of the big things for West Virginia is the dog hunting for bears. It's nuts. You can't do it here, but we have a lot of bears too.
Do
Big,
they
big.
do they run dogs for deer up in Pennsylvania?
No,
No,
it's
no.
illegal. It's actually one of
Okay.
those things. I don't want to go super duper into it, but it's kind of an unspoken thing. Neither one of us have done it. I want to make that disclaimer. But if you see a dog running a deer, it's typically not
Oh
good
no,
for
no,
the
never
dog.
mind. I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
If you see a dog running a deer, it typically doesn't work out very good for the dog.
Yeah, so
no.
it's interesting. It's I'm actually glad it came up and I asked because in South Carolina and North Carolina, I think Georgia, some of the other southern states, it's a very popular thing. It's a big cultural
It's
thing.
like the prominent. It is very cultural.
Deer dogging is a huge following. Guys drive around year round with special kennels in the back of their truck, and amongst their community, they're all about it. But there's a very hard line between the guys that do
Yep.
that and the guys that don't. And it
Absolutely.
mainly comes down to the fact that a lot of those guys allow their dogs to they let their dogs loose in areas where they end up encroaching on private property. And
Yeah.
it's unfortunate. Now I've never shot at a dog. I've certainly recovered some dogs and handed them over to
Same.
local authorities, which means that those guys have to either abandon the dog or call and pay the 50 or $150, whatever it is, to get their dog back. And I'm not ashamed of that one bit.
No,
But
we're not fans of the dog hunting.
yeah,
Yeah.
so we're kind of in the same camp. It's just interesting to see, and the difference between states where it's still allowed and largely allowed because it is sort of a tradition,
Yeah.
and there's a large cultural thing around it. Now, that being said, Matt and I have said on podcasts before, I would be willing to go experience it and see what it's like and go to on public land or a large tract of private land where it's done properly without encroaching on private property, just to experience it and see what it's like. Because
It sounds dangerous to
like
me.
you guys, I've never
don't
done
really.
it either. But and I hate talking about something that I've never experienced, but I just don't
Right.
have a lot of positive interactions with it.
Yeah.
Growing up
Yeah.
through high school, I don't know if it was on our podcast or another one where I talked about the fact that I grew up doing small game hunting and fishing. I didn't really get into whitetail, bigger game hunting until about 14 years ago. So through high school, I had hunted small game, that sort of thing. My my interaction with using dogs for deer hunting was driving to school and seeing guys on their way to school, but stopping to run their dogs that their uncles were running or whatever, their dads, because they still had to go to school, but they were pulled off on the side of the road with their shotgun, waiting to see if the dogs were going to push deer by them.
Yeah.
It's just weird. Like here I am driving on the same road, and you're like 15 feet off the side of the road with a shotgun, just hoping a deer comes by. And it's just, I don't know, it's weird to me. But again, I've never experienced it. I've never done it. But I wanted to ask that because you mentioned dogs, and yeah, it's always been an interesting thing to get people's opinion from other parts of the country. Because from some parts of the country, the idea of using a dog to hunt deer is mind-boggling. Whereas,
both.
and then we in North Carolina, in the mountains in South Carolina, they use dogs to hunt bear, just like a lot of places. You can go into little mom and pop shops and find they have these huge, like, I don't know, 12-inch barrel handguns that they use for hunting bear. I don't know if you've ever seen those before, but like
Yeah.
just these ridiculous like pistols. And then they carry those and they're their dogs, and that's how they hunt bear or mountain lion. It's crazy. But
Yeah.
deer I was curious about the deer thing. So interesting.
Our biggest problem with it here is they'll release it on a public road in front of private property, and then the dog will run through private property. And he was like, "Hey, man, it's a dog. What do you want me to do about it? I released it on public land." It's like, yeah, asshole, you release it on public land in between two pieces of private land.
Yeah.
And you know they're going to push the deer into your land that's on the other side of it. That's always been our problem.
That private land is 4 miles long and 8 feet wide, asshole.
Yeah. It's wild, man. Like up here in Pennsylvania, we do have a huge dog culture, but it is more of like that small game thing. And like, there's nothing, I'm not talking bad about guys that like hunt deer with dogs by any means. Like that's something that I've never experienced. I find it super interesting because it's something I've never done. Now, on the other side of that, Charles actually has an opportunity this year to go and hunt dogs in Florida.
In Florida, yeah.
Hunt deer with dogs.
Yeah, I'm not going to hunt dogs.
Not hunting dogs, yeah.
But I was also going to say, basically, you take Pennsylvania and you replace the dogs with people, and that's how our rifle season goes.
Yeah.
Because that is how people will run. They will get huge groups, especially the Amish. They'll have pots and pans out, and they will literally line up every 50 yards with pots and pans, and they will push out huge tracts of land and push deer. And you want to think, running with dogs is dangerous. Try putting people on the other end of the dog.
Put 30 people on the other end.
And running deer directly away from them towards other people with high-powered rifles. And that is the idea of, and don't get me wrong, I've been a part of plenty of pushes, not like that, small ones, groups of 8, 10 guys. We put 4 pushers, 4 standers, and we do it safe. We do it with the wind. We do it, logically. And I will not get with a group that does it that I don't trust or know people, because I'm not getting shot for something, a deer of all things. But, we do have a huge culture, as Austin said, with a lot of people run dogs for coyotes. That's huge.
Sure.
And they don't get in the trouble like everyone else does when they go on all the private lands, because they get access to kill coyotes like it's nothing.
Right.
Everybody wants coyotes dead. So,
and that's year round right there.
It's year round. You can do it any time of the year. We run dogs for squirrels. My buddy has one of the best squirrel dogs in the country. She's unreal, and that is so much fun. We run them for rabbits. It's a blast, but we've never experienced this. So this year I got an opportunity through a Patreon hunt. This will be the 3rd one. I went down to Florida with this group to hunt down there. I did a deer hunt with them and a turkey hunt this year where I killed a couple turkeys, and then I'm going back for a deer hunt again. So they basically give you an option. Part of the park is steel hunting, no dogs allowed. The other part is dog hunting, and the group's kind of split as well. Half the group's dog hunting, half the group's regular. And I'm like, you know what? I've never done it. I can't have an opinion on it until I've done it. And I feel like I'm going to be doing it with the right group of people to show me what it's all about and show me the good side of it. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm excited for it, honestly, but I can't have an opinion on it either.
Now we have to have
a
you
recap
guys
on that.
Yeah, we have to have you guys on a 3rd time so we can hear about how it went.
Yeah, I'll be on that trip in January, late January, somewhere around there in northern Florida. I can't wait for it.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
Very cool.
I want to do gear a little bit, and then we'll shut her down. But so I think that we all saddle hunt and bow hunt.
Correct.
Yes. Well, Gus is working on a saddle.
Yeah,
I heard about this.
I haven't made the plunge.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I will.
That's all right. I have
I
an
can leave the
extra
room
one.
if I need to leave the room, I will.
Listen, Gus.
Let's talk after this. I think we can make something work for you.
Yeah, I was going to say, we might want to talk after this, because I have an old one that I would say is probably the most comfortable saddle I've ever started in, that maybe I could help hook you up with to get your feet wet until you get, your mindset on what you actually want.
All right, let's talk. We'll talk after.
Send it back. We could have just like a community saddle. You want to get into saddle hunting? Use this, and
dude,
I'll loan your shit all over the country.
It's been sitting in my garage for 4 years, so it's not doing me any good. You know what I mean?
So that was gonna be my question. How long have you been saddle hunting? That was where I was going with that.
Yeah.
When did you build your first saddle, Austin? How many years has that been? Probably since we started the podcast.
Just about, just right after we started.
5 seasons now, I would have said.
4 or 5, something like that.
I would say this is probably our 5th year, truly 100% saddle hunting.
And do you climber ever?
No,
since
I
going
sold.
I
saddle?
used to do the old climber.
I gave mine to
That's
a
what I
buddy, and I
did.
haven't seen it since.
I
Yeah,
got
I don't
terrified
think
from
I'd
that thing.
100%. I'll never get back in a climber. I'm scared to death of them. And
I'm
it
scared to
took me so
death.
long to jump to saddle because I was scared of saddles. But as soon as you get in one, you're like, oh, you're not falling out.
No,
Yeah,
You're super safe.
dude. When it comes to saddles, I was the most apprehensive person you've ever met in your life. I was so married to a stand and sticks, and Charles got me in one, and I was kind of like throwing him for a loop. I was like, dude, no, I'm not ever gonna hunt saddles. And then I built one, and then literally one day I was like, hey, I need help pulling a deer out. Shot it out of a saddle, and he was like, what?
I was so mad at him. He was so against it, and I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, it sounds great. Think about just climbing a tree and you're set up ready to hunt. You don't have to put a platform up, because we were running mobile sticks and platforms, and doing it that way and carrying all this weight and all this bulk, and it was better than a climber because I could get in any tree. But I'm like, I need something a little more streamlined. We have to try these saddle things. I was right when tethered started coming out with them, and we talked one of my buddies into buying one, and he was the first one. Next thing I know, this jagoff goes off and builds a saddle behind my back and doesn't tell me about it. And next thing you know, he has a self-made saddle he's hunting in and kills his first deer ever out of a saddle.
So do you still use
Ridiculous.
platforms, or you hang on the tree and that's it?
No, we still use platforms.
Yeah, okay, I
Charles
was about
kind
to say.
of
Well, that's
is like a little
gnarly.
bit of a mix because he one sticks and his
Yeah.
stick has a platform on it. But
Yeah, I've upgraded to the one sticking, and my stick has a it's called a Monarch platform from Out on a Limb. It's not very big. It's probably 12 inches wide by maybe 6 inches deep. It's
Yeah.
but it's got like a flat top and then an angled part. So it's like 3 inches of angled and then 3 inches of flat, and probably 12 inches wide with like a V shape. It's perfect.
Yeah, I have the Cruiser, which it's a little bit bigger than that, but it has the angle, and
The
that allows you
Seeker.
to. Yep, it allows you to either stand, like I can stand both feet standing, or I can lean back on that angled part, and that angled part is a game. My feet are I wear 13, so I got big ass feet, so that I have to have a bigger platform, but it's crazy comfortable. But just to be able to I sent a picture in the Patreon the other day of me like fully slumped down, saddling, like straddling a tree with my legs. And I said, like, Kuyu guys, it said, this is how Sitka guys hunt. And then I said, Kuyu guys, because everybody gives shit about Sitka, but because I was straight, on it. I was up inside that tree, and it was, it's super comfortable. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's way better than sitting on sitting on a traditional style anything. It's way better.
It's not
than
even
that.
close. It's not even
Yeah.
close. I recently bought the Mini Seeker platform, and I used it for the first time on the first day. I do really like it. I probably should have went with the full size, because what I bought it for was more for a longer sit rut hunt style. I was hoping to get a platform to help me out. To be honest, I really like the one stick platform better, because that angle is tighter to the tree, and I get a little more support with the tips of my feet hitting the tree.
Yeah, it makes
So
sense.
I get a little bit more support, and I've tried both, and I might I don't know. I need to give it a better sit and a better tree and give it a real judgment on that platform. I really love the platform. Don't get me wrong. It's just like, do I need the extra platform?
Yeah.
Do I need the extra weight? Probably not. And it's what, 3 pounds, maybe.
Have you saddle hunted a tree yet that has two trees growing into one tree?
Best sit of
Oh,
your
dude.
life.
Oh my
Unreal.
God. I told somebody today, I was like, it's just like sitting in a recliner. I mean, except it's a little harder than a recliner, but it's exactly like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I like now that's the only thing. I'll look around and be like, damn it, I got to climb a single tree. Yeah.
Dude,
but
it's
you would never
funny.
do
That
that.
first buck that I killed was actually a triple cherry, and it's became one of my favorite trees now. Like, even if it's not the best spot, because it's so comfortable, because I put my back on the one
Yes.
and my knees on the other two, and it's
Yes.
unbelievable, man.
It's great. It is so good. It's like all day sitting used to suck, but now it's like I look forward to getting up in a tree. I mean, it really changed your hunting game. It's like I don't need to go in an hour before sunset. I'll go out there 5 hours and just sit. I don't care. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, it's
Just
probably
love
the
it.
number one reason I've invested in like the back band, because I
yeah.
basically created my own tree behind me with the back band. For long
Yep.
sits, I'm telling you, you must have one. It
I
is
have it.
a necessity. Yeah.
I've never used it, but I have it. It's
For
it's in my
long,
little box.
yeah, for the long sits, like the all day sits, the 5-6 hour sits during the rut, I think you absolutely must have one. For these short sits, I haven't pulled mine out of my side satchel bag yet. I really
Yeah.
haven't. I haven't touched it.
It's a purse, okay?
It's a pass.
So tell me about the one stick. Is it better
It's
outside of the weight savings?
I will tell you, it is its own weapon of choice. So it's like anything else, right? Is a 308 better than a 30-06? It depends. Do
Yeah,
you
yeah.
like 308? Do you like 30-06? I would say for me personally, to save not carrying 4 sticks, 3 sticks, whatever, I absolutely 100% love it. The second thing I like about it is the fact that I rappel down now instead of climbing down sticks, taking them
Yeah.
off one at a time. Usually back then, I was taking a stick off and just throwing it to the ground, making all kinds of noise and commotion rather than hanging it back on my side. Now I rappel down, I pull my ropes down, everything's neat and tidy. I'm quick out. I'm gone. Um, Going up the tree in a one stick, it does take slightly longer depending on the tree. Because if you have something with a lot of branches, you got to constantly kind of, unattach and reattach your tether line. But people complain a lot like, oh, it looks noisy. It looks like it's going to take you a ton of effort. You're going to sweat your ass off. None of those things are true. If I can do it in my very much out of shape self, typically coming into a season, I'm pretty out of shape and I do it fairly effortless now. You just have to create like anything else. The first time you climb with sticks, you probably sucked at it. It probably took you forever.
Yeah.
Now
Yep.
you can fly up and down a tree with sticks.
Mm-hmm.
The first couple times you one stick, it's going to probably suck. You take your time, you're going to go slow, but the key to that is when you're going slow, you're being quiet. I climbed the tree, like I was just mentioning, the one when I killed my deer. That deer stepped out 5 minutes after I got up in my tree and got set up in the tree, and he, whatever it was less than 50 yards from me when I turned around. I climbed the other day on opening evening. A deer literally stood up at 80 yards that was bedding there the whole time. It never, spooked, never ran out. So it's a different tool for your arsenal. I think that one, I don't have to worry about how high I'm going, whether I can reach that crotch in the tree because I can just keep climbing.
Yeah.
If I want to go 8 feet, I don't have to worry about ditching 3 sticks at the bottom of my tree. I can just go to my top of my platform and I'm ready to hunt. So yeah, I think there's a lot of pros and cons to it, but the pros for me outweigh the cons.
I've been thinking about it only because my sticks are super loud, and I bought the tape to wrap around to make them quieter. But then it's like, now I still got to find a way to secure them all together. And like some stick companies that you buy, they have like the little 3D printed clips where they all clip in, and
Yep.
I don't have any of that. I just got 3 sticks that are noisy and aluminum and make a ton of noise.
Yeah.
But whatever, it's
So
still way quieter than a climber.
Oh, 100%.
100%.
100%. And I've been trying to kind of get Austin on that one sticking train. I think I need to get him a little bit more into one. The hard part is it is an investment up front, but if you think about it, you're replacing all of your sticks and your platform. So how much do you have into 4 sticks on a platform? Most sticks now are $80 to $100. If you have 4, you're now $400. You're already higher than a one stick price. And then you have a platform that's another $100 to $150, depending on what you want for a platform. So, you're all in at a setup for $600 telling me I'm stupid for a one stick that's going to cost me, even pre-made to my door exactly how I want it at the most. I think they're up to $350 now, which is insane. I got mine for like $200 when they first came out, but I don't know. I think that
It's a trade-off.
it's a trade-off. And again, that's not it. I guess you are spending more money on ropes and your, method of coming down the tree. So you probably got another $100 into that, if not more, 150. So yeah, I'm probably at $400 or $500 all in.
And I need a new lineman rope right now, so I'm getting ready to spend money on that. If you send Gus your saddle, I might give him my sticks, and I'll buy one stick and see what see what it be like.
Yeah, man.
Gus, do you have sticks, man?
No.
I got sticks I can send you too.
Yeah.
Between everybody, we got stuff to set you up, buddy.
I got shit from the last 6 years. I never sold any of it, never gave any of it away. It's just all there. It's crazy how you just kind of slowly progress. Like we've been talking about this whole podcast. You start in one place and you need to fix certain things. So you just upgrade that and you upgrade and upgrade and upgrade. And I'm probably, the last 2 or 3 years, I've not changed anything other than buying that platform. I haven't changed a thing. So I finally have found what I like the best. I would say in the past 2 years, I've found what just works for me. So
it's also like a write-off for us. So it's a little, you guys write everything off. You're writing this stuff off, right?
No.
Come on, man. You need to.
This just goes into the hunting fund, man.
Yeah. It's just me spending my own personal money on dumb shit that I
well, I mean, you're going to spend it, but you can report on your taxes and get a little bit back at the end of the year.
I know, and it's funny because I'm an accountant and I know all this stuff and I just don't do it. Yeah. Oh yeah, I've done taxes for years.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Looking for a new client?
No, I've gotten out of that. I'm in the private industry now, thank God.
Nice. That's good.
Now they trust me to run the accounting for a $20 million business. Boy, are they just not smart people.
Wow.
Yeah. You got to fake it till you make it, Matt. That's right.
Yeah. 100%. I think that's all of us. I think all of us get like, how old are y'all? You're in late 30s?
33.
33. Yeah.
We're like 37 or something, but it's like the imposter syndrome comes out. One day you're at work and you're leading a meeting and you just kind of look around at everybody and you're like, holy shit, they're listening to me.
Yeah. We have these regional calls now where there's like 6 or 7 of us and they're leaning on me for information. I'm answering questions with actual answers that make sense. And I'm like thinking, holy shit, how did you know that?
Well, I do that. And then I go, how do these people not know that?
Right. And then you look around and you go, maybe I do belong here.
Are we all idiots? That's usually where I go, oh, we're all stupid. It's not just me.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a beautiful thing, man. Beautiful thing. But I would, you can go so deep into gear. And it's funny, I'm getting my brothers into it. My oldest brother started one sticking this year, just dove all in, built his own one stick out of a Hawk Helium 2-step that my friend, he bought 4 of them, got frustrated, never let me show him how to use them. He was ready to throw them into a dumpster and he just gave them away. My other buddy built a one stick out of a tethered 1 stick and he's been hunting off of it with his platform. And then my brother has a full on all built to go one stick. And so like I'm starting to slowly gain some followers in this cult. And I think people are just realizing like they're sick of bringing in a freaking climber. They're sick of bringing in sticks and a lock on. Like they're tired of it.
It weighs so much. When I hear people talk about lugging their climber, like I can't go too far because you're gonna carry the climber and the bow and the snacks and I'm like, what are you? You're still doing that? You're still doing a climber? I couldn't imagine going back to a climber. Mine is I actually Gus made fun of me for it. It's the sketchiest tree stand you'll ever see. But I bought I bought like a 20-foot ladder and ratchet strapped it to a tree and then climbed up the 20-foot ladder and I permanently mounted my climber into a tree. And that's where it's at now.
Yeah, dude.
Love it. Dude, those 20-foot ladders are impressive.
It's scary.
Dude, your normal like 16-footers you're used to, and then you put another rung on them. My dad did that once in Illinois, and I was like, holy shit, you hunted all the way up there? Like in a ladder?
Matt just helped put a stand up that was like 30 feet.
Yeah, I did. I put a 30-foot stand.
I heard.
Yeah, you could see the Empire State Building from there. It was fucking crazy.
Well, your shit's flat enough. That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, our landscape is either it's hardwoods, pines or water. That's
Yeah, you're
it.
getting hit in the
Yeah.
face with pine
Swamp.
needles at 30
Swamp.
feet.
Those are your options down here.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
don't
you
have
would
a
have
lot
so
of
much fun up here in the hills and the hardwoods and swamps and mix and actual terrain.
Yeah.
Things
I would
that
like
go
to
up and down.
like I miss it sometimes, but it's I'd be so out of shape going up into elevation and I don't
You get used to it. We
I
say
know, it's just-
elevation, dude. It's like 900 feet here.
Yeah, at the most you might be 1,200 in some spots.
Yeah,
We're not high up,
that's some thin ass air.
Western,
Yeah.
there's
It's
Western
not zero.
Western backcountry hunters are listening to this, going, "What the fuck are they talking about?"
They're up at 10,000.
Pussies.
That was like our
Oh,
elk hunt.
man.
It was like 1,600 feet from base camp to where we were hunting every day.
Yeah, that-
up
Oh,
and
yeah.
down.
Yeah.
And it was steep, so it didn't really take that long to get there. But once you get up there, you're just like, you look
Mhm.
down on base camp, and you're like, Jesus, that's far.
Oh, yeah.
I
I'll
hope
tell
we
you
don't
the,
kill anything higher than this.
the air is different out there, man. When we did South Dakota this year and did the turkey hunt, it is so different. And I mean, we were only I want to say we were anywhere between 4 and 6. So like we were pretty high, but not 9 to 10.
Dude, go that
Yeah.
extra step. It's
Right.
unbelievable.
Right. But like the cold was so
Oh,
much
yeah.
colder. It was just,
It's a different cold.
it's
It's a dry cold.
it's bad. It's
Yeah.
not fun. It was bad.
We
You know,
did
I think it
Pike
was-
Peak. It was 14,000 feet, dude.
Unreal, dude.
No,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're in outer space when you get to the top of Pike
Right.
Peak. I mean,
Yeah,
you're
no, thank
above.
you.
You already come through the weather, and now you're thousands of feet above the weather. It was a wild experience.
You're on an airplane.
I am the weather.
Yeah.
That snowstorm or thunderstorm that you watched, 2 days ago you're looking down at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, the stories of Zeus is just somebody that climbed high enough up on a mountain and went, watch this. Whoa.
Yeah.
And then a lightning
Yeah.
bolt struck underneath him. And that was Zeus.
Yep. Yep. That's probably how it happened. We did wind sprints up there. I did like 2, and I was like, there's signs everywhere that say don't run, like don't
Yeah.
exert yourself up here. And I was like, well, I'm going to do it. And so me and the guys I was with, we did wind sprints up there. No, like you do like one down, one back, and you're like, you just can't breathe. You cannot get
Yeah.
enough oxygen in, which I didn't realize that when I read the signs that it's like, there's no oxygen up here. Don't do it because it's going to suck. You're not
You're never
going
going to catch your breath. Yeah.
Yeah. And how people hunt at that elevation and track, like, because that's where there's a lot of goats and shit that live that high, right?
Mhm.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah,
Way up
man.
above the
Yeah.
tree line. I don't know
Yeah.
how people truck out meat like that.
Carefully.
Yeah,
Very
slowly.
carefully.
Carefully.
I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of those people adapt their bodies and their lungs to it by, either living at high elevations
Oh,
or
yeah.
taking time to adapt their bodies to it. Because if not, I mean, yeah, you're right. How could you do it? There's no way.
Yeah.
Someone like us coming from 800 feet elevation and going out to 10,000 and
Yeah.
trying to kill something first day and haul it out. Good luck.
Dead.
You'd be surprised how fast you adjust.
Right. That's what I mean. Take a couple days. A lot of people I know go out. If they have a trip and opening days on a Monday, they'll be out there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, adjusting for the first day and a half, 2 days, and then scouting for a day, and then their hunt starts.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to bring a Sherpa with you. The guys that are worth like
Yeah.
28,000 feet at K2, like those guys could help you trek out a deer.
You better believe it, dude.
Yeah, 100%.
That's like when you
Superhumans.
see the videos of people walking over dead bodies on K2, and people are like, "Why didn't you save them?" It's like, dude, they can't breathe either. It's not
Good
gonna be-
luck. Yeah.
right.
We're not going to be able to drag anybody out of that. Yeah.
No way.
It's insane. Elevation's a crazy thing when you think about. We talked about it a little bit on a podcast we did, but we have a friend that has a plane, and I don't mean it was built in 1968, but it's a badass plane. It's like it would be like somebody owning a nice boat. It's not
More
not like a
badass plane than I have.
$1 plane. Oh, 100%.
Exactly. Yeah.
100%.
Exactly.
But it's not pressurized. So we got up to, I don't know, cruising altitude. I don't know. But he has those things that go on your finger, and it'll tell you if your oxygen level, where you're at.
Yep.
And so he's like, the scariest part about it, he's like, because once you get up there, the first thing you lose in elevation is common sense. Like, you don't realize that you're that you can't breathe.
Mhm.
You don't notice it. He's like, and that's the
Yeah.
worst thing. He's like, so as soon as you start to feel funny, it's good to check. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay. And I was like, I feel funny. That's the reason I'm asking you. And he was like, oh, well, pull the thing out. So he pulls the thing out and puts it on my finger. And it was like 7, which you would be dead if it
Oh,
was 7.
yeah.
And I was like, it says 7. He's like, there's no way that's right. He puts it on his finger and it was like 8. He was like,
my
I guess
gosh.
it's broke. And that was the end of the conversation. Like, we were just like, okay. Like, it was, and in that moment you're like, wow, at least I won't even know. Cause I'm
Yeah.
we both
just
just
pass out.
agreed we don't care. So clearly our common sense is gone. Yeah.
Dude, that's
That is one of the telltale signs of elevation sickness. If you can't, do simple tasks and,
Yeah.
that's pretty much it. But
He was telling me that they have like a checklist that they memorize, and it's like, tap 2 fingers, tap your foot, and then tap, and it's like they do it every time they fly, all the time. Doesn't matter the elevation. They'll just every 20 minutes they'll just do this thing, and that's supposed to help you when you're like, wasn't I supposed to do something? And then your brain should be like, yes, and then you descend. But he's like, again, first thing that goes. But he was telling me a story. It's a true story. I didn't believe it, but there was a guy that had gotten high, got hypoxic, passed out, and just the plane descended, and he landed in a field and survived. Woke up in a field.
no
Whoa.
shit.
Yeah. And I was like, that's bullshit. And I looked it up, and like, there's multiple cases of that happening.
That's
Like people just
some
flying out
lucky
west.
SOBs.
Dude, I got a story to tell you after this about a plane crash. Pretty wild.
Yeah. Was it in
Oh, man.
September?
No, long time ago.
Crazy.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a buddy that wants to fly planes, and he wants to get his own personal like pilot license and shit. And I'm like, yeah, you're about nuts enough to do it. Remember that? Were you with me the time we were out hunting last year and all those like little personal plane things went by?
No, that wasn't me.
Okay, well, I was out hunting,
Thanks for
just
the invite.
north of here. Yeah,
Just
well,
kidding.
whatever. And these little like, dude, I don't even know what to call. There was wings. There was like a little body. They weren't really planes, but it was basically somebody trusting their life to like a lawnmower.
Oh, it's an ultralight.
Yeah, like an ultralight.
Yeah, an ultralight.
style. There was like 6 or 8 of them that went over top.
Yeah,
of
they
our
got
heads.
clubs, man.
They were insane. I don't know why anybody would ever do that. Like, you're stupid. If you go off the ground that high with one of those, you're just dumb.
You got a parachute.
There's no way you'd have time. They weren't that high.
No, it like uses a parachute.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
see what you mean.
Yeah, you're all right. Guys, I don't want to take up too much of your time. We're
Here we are again.
We're just
Yeah.
rambling again. It's turning into
Yeah.
another one of those episodes.
No, you're good.
Man. Thank you.
It was y'all missed a joke I said, and so Gus was like, "You got
I'm
away
so
with it."
sorry.
I heard you say
No,
something. I thought it was an inside joke.
No, we'll see if anybody else heard it. We'll find out.
Hit me again, Matt. Hit me
It's
again.
too late. It's too late.
I
Too late.
don't remember exactly how I said it.
It wasn't. It was.
Did you say it was something about it? Was it in September? That was the joke.
Oh, that was the joke. Oh God. Oh no. That was
Okay.
bad.
Yeah.
I saw my phone light up, and Gus had texted me. He was like, "I barely kept it together right there."
Too soon.
It was what made it. If you guys had laughed, it wouldn't have been as funny. But the fact that you guys didn't catch it made it. You know, like when you're a kid and you're not supposed to laugh.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Go to bed. The kids go to bed, and you're sleeping with your, sleeping
My
with your
brain was
cousins,
like,
and you're trying
well-
not to laugh. Oh,
Well, they
man.
live up north. Maybe that's offensive. It's like, anyway.
Oh God.
Good stuff.
I don't worry about me. I'm just catching up to this whole thing.
You're good.
Do you still not get it?
Oh no, I got it.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
At first, I didn't get it. Now I'm well aware of what we're talking about. Thanks. This is
Yeah.
all because of Matt's samples.
Yeah. No, it's good.
It's good. It's good.
It's
Delicious.
good.
Sorry,
All right.
We're not from there, so actually, one of them was pretty damn close to here.
Yeah, I was gonna say that wasn't far from.
Was not
You ever-
far.
Actually true, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see the
I've
footage
been
of
there.
that?
No.
I mean, you've seen pictures of it, right?
I was so
Oh, yeah.
young. Oh yeah. Of course.
What did it look like?
Do you know the conspiracy behind it?
I know the
That's
conspiracy.
where I'm going.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
I figured you
Shit.
were. I know
We're having
you
a
guys
fight.
kind
I'm
of
just
like
saying.
conspiracies, but like
I'm
not
kind of
entirely.
on the conspiracy side of that one.
You
I'll be
can
honest.
Google image plane crash and you can see what it looks like. There's a hole in the
Yep.
ground, shit's on fire, and then you
Yep.
can Google image that one. And
Mhm.
There's
not
a
what that
reason
looks
why it's scattered everywhere.
yeah, it looks like
Beyond normal.
it
Yeah.
it hit a tree at 20,000 feet. That's what it looks like.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. That's a big tree.
Listen,
Or
if
a
they had to shoot
tomahawk.
it down, they had to
Or a
shoot it down.
tomahawk.
You know,
Listen,
just
who knows where that thing was going? And those people were
Right.
dead anyway. So
100%. It didn't matter. They weren't going to survive.
it's just one of those
But-
things. Like the government would do that and lie about it. So, and that makes total sense. Well, I don't know why you would lie about it. So, what else are they lying about?
I mean, yeah, paint the people as heroes. Anyways,
have
beyond
ideas.
this. There's actually pretty decent deer hunting down that way too. Big hills, that's some big wooded country down. Oh yeah. We hunted a couple times down that way in like Ligonier area.
Have you heard about Bill and Melinda Gates?
I literally just heard about this. Where did I hear about that?
I don't know where I heard about that.
Was that on your guys' podcast I was just listening to?
I don't think so.
Mm,
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure it was.
Doesn't sound like something we talk about.
We don't talk about stuff like that.
Just
we never
heard it.
get off topic and talk about crazy conspiracy theories. That is
Mhm.
not happening.
That's the
I
first
had
time
one
I've ever
today.
heard it.
I'm gonna tell you one that I had today. It's taken me a long time to formulate like the actual idea. But this is what I had. This is what my thought is. So if you think about the United States, like the country, the United States of America, right? In order for them to do all the shit they're doing, whether we believe what they're doing or not, they need money to do it. So how do they get money? Tax money. Well, they also need people. So the government hires government workers, and then in order for the government workers to be happy, like the guys making the missiles and the planes and all that, they need somewhere to go to dinner. They need vacation places. So anyone that doesn't work for the government, they're basically just like plants that allow government workers to be able to leave work and go to dinner and go to Taco Bell and 7-Eleven and get gas. So like nobody's lives matter except the government workers because they work for the government building all this shit, and everybody else's tax money is what pays for it. What do you think about that?
Listen, you lost me a long time. ago.
Having worked for the government, I don't disagree.
I don't know. I was just sitting in a meeting today and I don't remember what they were talking about, but I was like,
you were distracted, weren't you?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I went from whitetail hunting to like, you know what? Why am I paying so much in taxes? And then I look at Ukraine and everything else and I'm like, oh, that's where it's going. Now I know why I have a job.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What are you doing right now?
I'm opening this bottle.
Are you cracking a bottle right now?
Yep.
Oh my god.
Hell
Good
yeah.
Lord.
This
What
bottle right here.
This is the
What
end
time
of the
is it?
podcast, guy.
Yeah,
What time is it
it's
there?
Same time as yours.
I don't know, party time.
Same time as yours.
I was joking.
You know, time to open a bottle.
I just went to the
So-
bathroom. My wife's in bed, so I'm good to go. I'm going to feel like I got to be at work at 6, so it'll be fun. But
I work from
Uh-huh.
home tomorrow. I gotta
Do
wake
you?
up at like 7:59 to start at 8. So
damn.
sorry, boys.
I
Yeah,
have a humongous order of bandsaw blades to make in the morning.
you ready?
Oh,
yeah.
good gravy.
Okay, so a little backstory on this bottle. This Old Forester. You can't find Old Forester locally here in any of our freaking.
Really?
So I don't know if you guys know this about Pennsylvania. You can only buy this in a spirit store for a state store.
It's fine wine and good spirits.
Fine wine and good spirits. State stores. They
That's a
have
state
their
store.
Yep. A
Okay.
state store is state,
So
obviously
you have
funded.
state and non-state stores?
Well, any non-state store would be a privately owned store. That's
That's what I
not
mean.
owned
You
by-
have both.
Oh, so yeah, both.
Yes.
We only
Yeah,
have
but
private.
Ooh,
We have
But-
beer distributors.
Yep.
We have gas stations, some gas stations that sell beer, and then we have state stores.
that
and that's it.
only do like spirits, liquors, only get sold by state stores. You cannot buy them privately.
Even wine in most
Pennsylvania.
places. Yeah.
Yeah. Mostly
Huh.
everything goes through a state store. So there are hours and everything else. So you check the state stores in your area, and this Old Forester is just nowhere to be found. I've been looking at the reviews and everything, and I really wanted the 1870. So I
Mhm.
was looking today, and they're sold out. You can't get them shipped to our state store, but they're in like 67 stores. One of them just happened to be a half an hour from my work. So I bought it online, and I've been waiting for the email confirmation all day. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? They're not telling me to come pick it up. So I call them when I'm leaving work, and they're like, we never got your order. Our site is down. like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. I said, okay. Well, I'm trying to get a bottle of the Old Forester 1870. She said, well, I have one for you. I said, okay, hold it for me. I'll be right there. So I drove half an hour, get there, and she's like, yeah, the site's down. I'm sorry, we never got your order today. I'm like, well, here's my receipt. I paid for it. I bought this bottle. I want it. She said, no problem. I'll sell it to you. I only have 2 left. Well, the next closest state store was 4 hours away. So if I wanted to buy this in Pennsylvania, I would have drove 4 hours to the next state store that has this bottle. I said, you better give me both of those. I'll take them both.
That's crazy.
And here I am.
That's wild.
Pouring a little
Here,
bit.
Florida's like that. Florida has ABC stores, state stores, and locally. We only have local owned stores. We don't have.
Yeah. I listen to you guys' podcasts about that all the time, and I'm very jealous that you have privately owned because we can only get them through our state stores.
Well, your state stores are going to be cheaper than our
Yeah.
privately owned store.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got its pros and cons for sure.
I saw one today. Somebody had
100%.
a bottle that I wouldn't mind to have. That's like $120 here, and hard to find. And they found it at a state store for $78. And I was like, damn, I'd
Nice.
buy it for that.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah, I would agree.
1870, it was the first Old Forester. It was the first woman blended
Whew.
whiskey.
The first woman blended whiskey.
Woman blended, yeah.
Interesting.
When it was originally
Just
released, huh?
Yeah.
Girls can do things now, man. Times are changing.
That was in 1870, bro. Oh yeah, that's what they were saying in 1870. It was like a woman blended this.
Right. Yeah.
How did she have time to do that after cooking dinner and fucking cleaning the dishes? No, but women have fantastic palates. They're
the best.
yeah,
In fact,
the best.
That's what I hear. I learned that from a podcast.
This
Yeah.
smells a lot stronger than some of the
Imagine
other
that.
ones, doesn't it?
It does smell strong. It's bitey.
It's a really good whiskey.
Whew.
It's super
Gus, how come
fruity.
you haven't got rid of that cough yet, man?
He's got
fuck you, man.
long
Let
You
me
COVID.
still
tell you
dying
something.
over there?
He got long COVID.
Dude, I got long COVID. This shit started in the first part of September, and it has not gone. It has gotten much better, but the evenings and the mornings are the worst. And if I could get rid of it, I would have. You guys can kiss my ass.
My kids have that right now. It's unreal, man.
I just
Yeah, it won't fucking go away.
I just
It
killed
doesn't
this
help that
barrel, this bottle,
got-
and
nice.
realized I didn't put on
Oh.
deodorant.
Proud of you, Matt.
Did that not hit harder than some of the 110 we tasted to you? Did that not hit hard?
I gotta be honest, I like it.
Like fast and then just sizzled out quick.
It's
Like hit
tasty.
hard quick and then just like, I'm not
That's
going to
what
use
she-
the word.
It's a little bitey, but it's only 90 proof.
Yeah.
It's got
I'm a
some
big
flavor.
fan. I'm glad I bought 2 bottles. Don't
It's
tell my
super
wife.
floral.
It is.
It's got the traditional vanilla and caramel, good oak.
Mhm.
But it's one of the few bourbons that actually tastes like it smells. A lot of them don't.
Right.
Ooh, that's
I
an
would agree.
interesting perspective.
I'm
It's
glad
very
I made the choice to get 2 bottles of this.
Did we tell you about the 1915?
No?
No.
So you take Old Forester 1910 and Old Forester 1920, and then you blend it together and just let it sit for a little bit, like overnight. It's unbelievably good.
Really?
It's so good. They call it the 1915 because it's 10 and 20 blended together, but it's
Mhm.
so good that it's like super common. And if you do a podcast, like back when Jackie Zycan was part of Old Forester, she would do podcasts with people, and then people would
Okay.
say shit about it, and then she's like, "No, we're never gonna make 1915," because everyone knows that it's money. Yeah, we made a. Well, I gotta
Oh.
hold on.
What do you got there, Gus?
That's equal parts mixed, right? So
Oh, wow.
I can't see that.
Yeah, and then we made stickers.
You made stickers. My
Yeah.
man.
So
That's
you can't
hilarious.
sell them, obviously, but yeah, like that would be. We would get a cease and desist pretty quick.
So, random question since you're talking about stickers. Are you guys going to. All right, so you mentioned you got that Yellowstone barrel pick. Are you guys going to put stickers on them, or are you going to sell stickers with the bottles to put on there? Or how did that go?
Did you listen to the latest podcast?
Yeah, I did. No, that's why I'm trying to ask
Okay.
about it. I'm trying
So
to
we do
learn
it-
here.
Me
do
too,
'em
because
with,
I have no clue.
Mr. Chlorophyll over here.
So we do them with liquor stores, but it wasn't our pick. It was Gibby's Bottle Shop is who invited us to go.
Right.
And so I went with him and several of his friends. It was like you need a whole team because we got to kind of discuss it. So I was just part of the team. It's definitely not like our pick. But he did put our name on the label for when they submit it for barreling. So our name is on the label for the Yellowstone pick, which if you listen to the podcast, I talked a little bit of shit about Yellowstone. The pick hasn't even come out yet, but my guess is it was the best of what we had been offered.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that bottle is going to be amazing. The Russell's pick that y'all had tonight, same thing. The team of us picked it. We picked 2. Both of them are fantastic. The one I sent you is definitely the better of the 2. But so yeah, the next one we're doing, I can't remember what the sticker is, but it's already been designed, and it's I remember what it is now. It says we talked about this actually. It says drunk cigarettes don't count. That's what it was.
Nice.
So
like
we
it.
picked this Yellowstone pick pretty shit faced. So it's like that's our don't hate. Drunk cigarettes don't count. This drunk pick doesn't count. It's probably a good pick. I don't know. We'll see when it shows up. If it shows
only
up.
one way to find out.
Yeah, and luckily for that, anyone that wants one, we unlike the Russell's bottles, there's nothing I can do about it. We can't get them.
Yeah.
But the Yellowstone picks are not going to fly off the shelf. I'll be able to buy as many of those as I want, and they won't be that expensive. So if anybody wants one, shouldn't be hard to get it to you.
Yeah,
which is illegal to ship it through state lines.
Yeah.
So I would never, ever, ever ship liquor.
No. Why would you do something
that's super
inappropriate
illegal.
like that?
it
Yeah.
wouldn't do that.
Nobody does that.
Nobody would.
I mean, that's why I had to bring your box up there and drop it off. Because,
Right.
there's no way.
Totally appreciate.
We
that,
high
Kurt, by
fived
the
when
way.
he got here. It was great.
I know. I'm sorry I had to turn and burn, dine and ditch, but I had to get back home.
Listen, man, I get it. It's it's like 10 hours. We got
What city are you in? I want to see how far it is.
it. We're north of. Look up Newcastle, PA.
Oh, I know where that is.
Do you really?
You don't know.
Yeah, I know. I've been there. There was a.
No, you haven't.
Tell me
tell
one
you-
fact about Newcastle, and I'll
I'll
believe
tell you offline. It's next to the Shin something River. I remember that.
You're totally on the wrong side. Shenandoah?
The Shenango?
Shenango?
Shenango.
Oh my
There's
gosh.
no way.
I put that as my. I put that
I'm
as
telling you,
mine.
I've been there. I'm telling you, I've
Should have
been
let
there.
me.
All right.
You should have let me go with Shenandoah.
You want to hear the most random
I
fact
knew it
in
wasn't
the world?
Shenandoah. That's in Virginia.
Yeah, it is in
I-
Virginia.
I was trying
I
to
know where
get them.
Shenandoah is.
I've been to Shenandoah River, by the way.
So have I. I walked that native bridge, or whatever they call it. Natural
Yeah.
bridge.
Yeah.
Shit. You're right.
Buddy,
it's 10
whoever
hours
does
and
your
48
post production, I'm so sorry.
That's me. It's fine.
Don't edit this.
Gus, I'm sorry.
Send it, Gus.
I'm
I
not
haven't
editing
said
any of it.
anything. I haven't said anything yet that I want.
We've done good.
10 hours and 48 minutes.
Yeah.
It's exactly 700 miles from my house to Newcastle.
Yeah, my wife
whatever.
was just in Charleston for a bachelorette party like 2 months ago.
I saw her.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she said that.
Are.
Yeah.
My wife was there too.
Yeah, your wife was there too.
My wife was there too.
Yeah, I saw
Our
her.
wives were there. I'm pretty sure
I
you
saw
guys
them.
were at the bachelorette party.
No,
They said
they were
these
at a club.
bearded guys. Yeah, something.
Probably.
I saw them at a
handsome.
club, and I was like,
Happens all the time.
not gonna do that. Those girls look scary. Or sketchy. I don't know. I can't think that quickly on my feet. But I
Those
was
are
trying to find
Newcastle
it.
girls. They're real sketch.
What do Newcastle girls look like?
The best.
What have you ever heard of a girl's
Answer
name
carefully.
Methany with an M?
Yeah.
What?
That would describe
Nothing.
Newcastle girls.
Yeah. Have
Not
you seen?
ours. Not ours. We're
Wonderful-
not from Newcastle,
Oh,
by the
sure.
way. We're on the outskirts. Austin's from Ohio,
Nice
technically speaking. So
No, I'm from here.
Ohio?
you spent a lot of time in Ohio, though.
My wife's from Boston.
Yeah, his wife's from Boston. We are in the outskirts of Newcastle. We're not Newcastle people. We don't associate
Pennsylvania's not
ourselves.
very big.
No, it's
Yeah,
not.
Pennsylvania's not.
Yeah, it's long.
It's long.
It's got good,
Yeah.
not as much girth, but it's good. It's long.
Yeah. You'll hit bottom.
Longer than
Nice.
Rhode Island.
Yeah, yeah. We're a decent sized state. If you really look at us, we're not that badly shaped. You know,
I guess you are actually.
Yeah.
Pretty decent.
Yeah.
You're about as big as South Carolina.
yeah. You
Yeah,
you
everything is
guys
just-
are just like,
A lot more spread out.
yeah,
There's a lot more
Exactly.
green.
Pittsburgh is way closer to Ohio than I thought.
yeah.
it
We're
was.
like 6 hours across the state drive wise.
Oh,
So
shit,
where we
really?
are, you can pretty much throw a stone and hit Ohio.
yeah. Like we're basically in
Newcastle,
Ohio.
You're basically Cleveland.
No. We're no.
You're like,
No,
whoa,
we're
fuck it,
if
hold
any.
on a minute now.
No, yeah, come on. Cleveland's 2 hours ish. We're not Cleveland. Okay, Cleveland's Lake Erie. We're
don't say A?
Youngstown, Ohio.
Youngstown,
No,
A.
no,
That's where Young.
no A's.
Youngstown's wicked close, dude.
Isn't that where
Youngstown's
Rob Dyrdek's from?
15
Isn't
minutes.
Rob Dyrdek from Youngstown?
I don't know that answer.
I don't. Tony Hinchcliffe is from Youngstown.
Listen,
Maybe
the
that's
guy
what I
that
was
coined
thinking.
the phrase rock and roll is from Youngstown. And his first job was actually as a disc jockey or not disc jockey, what's that called? Actually, yeah, DJ, disc jockey
How do you know this?
in Newcastle. His first job because I had a class in college and I'm educated, Austin.
I went to college too, guys.
But that's a true story.
You had a
He
class
grew up in
about
Youngstown.
Alan Freed.
Alan Freed, yeah, he coined the
he had a
phrase
class
rock and he stole it, so supposedly,
No, I
but
know
he
he
coined the
stole it.
phrase rock and roll, and his first job was a disc jockey in Newcastle, Pennsylvania.
When was that? The 60s?
Yeah, that was about the same time that they were doing that big fraudulent where they were cooking the books in Youngstown. That's basically what ended Youngstown was the cooking the books on that one company. I can't remember what it was, but that was around for a long time. Brought tons of money, and when he finally got busted, it just ended the whole city.
Okay.
Kind of like the steel mills in Newcastle. Why Newcastle's no longer booming? Steel mills moved out, all went to California, left us in the dust.
Okay.
Quite literally.
History.
Now,
How about that?
I think
Crazy shit.
Nashua is where I've been.
No.
Nashaw.
The Nashaw
Yeah.
Bridge?
I think
Like where-
Nashua is
that's
where
the
person
Shenango.
that
The
person I knew that
Shenango
lived
runs
there.
under Nashaw.
That's where we do our river, or like one of our creek floats,
That's-
we'll call it, because it's a creek.
It's a river.
I did a
It is a river, right?
there's no fucking way that's where I did it at.
The Nashaw Bridge is where we do our river float. One of our river floats locally.
That's where I did a river float from.
Are you?
I'm not even
You go to
joking.
Nashaw
I
and
swear to
you get out right there at what's now the School of Trades, which is like Stoner Construction, and right there at 422, it's like a
I'm like
4-hour
looking
float.
at
We do it all
that's
the
the
time.
reason I went there, dude. That's crazy. That's 100%. I've been in the
That's
same spots.
insane. You've been in our neighborhood. We've probably
Wow.
floated the river on the same day, potentially.
Maybe, I don't know. We had a cooler, and I remember the cooler had a keg in it, and it was like the goal was to empty it. And I remember we floated.
That sounds right.
Was there a bridge with a swing, like a rope swing, on that
I mean,
float?
Don't all river floating cruises have a?
You guys have basically
Yeah.
touched wieners together.
I want to
We
say we
basically
ended
touch tips.
like it ended in Newcastle. I want to say.
Yeah, 100%. Right on 422 there, where King's Chapel comes down, and there's a little like boat ramp that goes down into the water. Perfect exit
Unreal.
right by the bridge.
That's
Yeah,
gotta
that's
be where
insane.
it was. Yeah, that's crazy.
We do that float multiple times a year.
Really, it's a good time.
Yeah.
That's for what I remember.
I've been to Philly and Hershey. That's about it.
Yeah,
You went-
I've been both those places too. They both suck.
Apparently,
What-
come to
what-
Newcastle, man.
When people say, "Oh, I've been to Hershey," what does a Pennsylvanian think?
That sucks.
Well, here's the thing. I didn't go to Hershey for like the tourist attraction thing. I was there for I was there for a hockey tournament when I was in high school. So
I think of a state track meet or a cross country meet.
I've been to Hershey for like the touristy thing. I did the Hershey thing once, and that was enough.
Yeah.
Apparently, I was supposed to get free candy at the end. I didn't get that, so because I wasn't a kid, and I got pissed.
Are you
So we
salty?
left. Yeah, we left. You know,
I've
but
heard
yeah,
they have
we
good candy there.
good what?
Good
Good
candy.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
they
that's
do.
why
I've
I
never
went
heard of
for
it.
I'm not a fan of Hershey bars, so not a fan.
I like a Mr. Good bar. That's a good bar.
What?
That's random.
That was not intentional.
Harrisburg is actually where I was at.
Harrisburg
Sorry.
sounds right. Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say Harrisburg
We
is where the
drove-
Great American Outdoor Show is. Full
Yeah,
circle.
we drove over to Hershey on our way out of town, but I
Yeah.
was in Harrisburg for a hockey tournament.
There
Everything
you
on
go.
that side of the state is pretty much a pure shithole. When you get into the cities, that's just
Nice.
gonna be just being honest.
Except
Um,
Punxsutawney.
Punxsutawney is awesome. Our
We got
buddies
good
are
buddies from
Punxsutawney.
Punxsutawney.
That's
yeah,
Bill
dude.
Murray.
Shout out to
Bill
PA
Murray.
bow hunting. Yeah, Bill
Yeah.
Murray.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like if you're on that side of the river, if you might as well be, you're basically in Philadelphia, which is basically New York, which is basically New
Mhm.
Jersey, and all fucking
Mhm.
sucks. So
If the whole state from that side of the river on just fell off, I would
Fell
not
off.
lose sleep. Yeah, if it just fell off, I would not lose sleep one
Yeah.
day. Yeah, I'd be
Have you ever thought
perfectly
about
fine
moving
with it.
south?
Yeah,
Several
yeah,
times.
quite often. It's just the thing is, like, my wife and I talk about it all the time because with my job and the companies that we have everything from Idaho to Florida that we could move anywhere and I could have a job still. It's just like we enjoy the seasons here.
We have
We
seasons.
no, you don't.
You have summer.
You have hot and not so hot, and
We have all 4 seasons, but summer's definitely
Sometimes it's just
longer
in 1
than
week.
normal. Yeah, our winter
my
is
wife's
literally
brother.
March.
My wife's brother is just south of Myrtle Beach. He was in Florida for a while in Jacksonville, and now he's in Murrells Inlet. And like we talk about it, we go down there quite often. Dude,
Pawleys Island is one of the coolest places in the
phenomenal,
world.
phenomenal place. Yeah, we talk about it often. It's just like both of us have huge families, and we're so entrenched in family stuff.
Yeah.
Like I told her, maybe once my parents are, no longer with us, maybe then we'll think about it. But
Don't say that
for
about your
now,
parents.
right? I don't even want to think about it.
Your old man is gonna live forever.
I hope, and I hope he keeps killing deer forever.
He's going to, dude.
He's a freaking slayer, man.
He is.
How old is he?
So, 65. I'm just gonna guess that real quick. He was born in 57,
65?
so 66.
You got a long time, dude. 65.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're like the youngest 66-year-olds. Sometimes I think about like, holy shit, my parents are 66 and they act like they're 40. It's just fucking insane. Like it truly is insane.
Yeah.
To think like normally back when I was a kid, you think about 60-year-old parents or grandparents like, damn, they're old. It's wild.
I think my camera overheated.
Yeah, you screwed up your camera again.
Uh-oh.
It's hot in his room.
There's like ginseng and like energy drinks and stuff too, right?
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Sorry, we just can't see your gorgeous face any longer.
Yeah.
Gus, I'm sorry about your post production, dude.
Yeah, we can.
No,
we
it's all
can.
right. I don't deal
listen.
with the video. I just see the
Yeah,
audio.
he does the audio. I do the video. Yeah, I think my
Oh,
camera
good.
overheated. It's hot as shit in this room. It's sweat. I've been wiping sweat off my forehead for an hour and a half now. Yeah, it's not coming back.
Well, we apologize.
Anyway.
We did this again to you guys.
No, I know. How do we keep doing this? This is interesting.
It's just good
Good sign.
conversation, man.
Yeah.
It means we need to figure out a place to meet in person and do this over a weekend.
Yeah, we need to
Oh,
do
God,
this
yeah.
without censors. That's what I need to do.
Listen,
Yeah.
I will say, forget the turkey camp Patreon hunt. Come 2 weeks later and do a PA hunt up at my camp, and we'll stay up there together for whatever you guys can do. One,
Yeah.
the turkey hunting's better, and two, the time it'll be unbelievable.
I'm down.
Yeah,
It
100%.
would be unbelievable. And you have a bed to sleep in, so that's even a plus.
Yeah,
nice.
dude. Hey, there we go.
There he is.
Hey,
Yeah, not having to pay for a place to sleep is always a huge benefit.
Totally.
Yeah.
I have a guy coming up this next spring from Florida. He's going to come up and fly into Pittsburgh. I'll pick him up, and we're going to drive up, and we're going to try to hit my camp, and then maybe do New York. Maybe he wants to do West Virginia, but it's kind of too far from my camp to do West Virginia. It's a lot closer to just go up to New York. So we're going to try to figure something out. But I'll tell you, from the hunting up there this past spring, it's insane. There are so many turkeys up there. It's ridiculous. So,
Well, we're pretty slammed through the end of the year, but if we were to do a non-hunting, just come up and hang out. We should think about that.
man.
But if but also if we do spring turkey, I think we could probably make what time? What's
Yeah,
the
'cause
season?
It's not
for
until
spring?
May. It's not
Oh,
until
no
May.
shit.
It's
Oh,
it's the month of
absolutely
May.
nothing going on in May, and it's still
That's
snowing in May.
Well,
Sometimes.
Our
is
seasons love
wild.
to give us like a super warm, beautiful February.
We got stuff for you guys to wear. It'll be all right.
Yeah, and then it just
Well,
goes
we have
downhill.
cold weather stuff. Yeah, my camera definitely overheated. It's hot as shit in this room, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, May here is usually pretty beautiful. We like it when it's cooler because less bugs to deal with.
yeah.
So it's nice when it's kind of cool. And the birds
Yeah.
just go absolutely bananas. I mean,
Yeah, I bet.
it's crazy. And you gotta hear an Eastern in the big woods up here. I mean, that is a totally different gobble.
Oh, I bet.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I
crazy.
bet. It
Here we
sounds
go.
awesome, man.
It's a lot of fun. I've been trying to get people to come up and enjoy it with me because we go up for the weekends and we get on birds. You know, we can't hunt Sundays, of course. Sucks, right? Especially for out of towners,
Yeah.
it sucks. But that's why we start talking New York, because you can go up to New York and hunt Sunday
Okay.
there. You know,
Nice.
it's probably not
Yeah,
more
don't
than
threaten me
another.
with a good time.
Yeah, yeah. We've been trying to threaten people for a long time. Nobody's taken us up on it so far. So
Well, you're talking to two people that are 100% going to take you on it. So.
No, you lost your microphone. Sounds like your laptop microphone again.
Oh, that's because I
Yeah,
plugged in my laptop microphone. Hold on.
Nice.
You're 100 miles away.
Am I back now?
There you
You're
go.
back.
That
Maddie,
video
come
here.
back. You can blame it all on me.
And we are at a weird age, all of us, because I think we all had the same damn fucking song come in our heads.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anything else
Yeah.
you guys want to actually cover tonight? I mean, I know we've
No,
been
I
all
think
over
we've-
the place.
I think
No,
we've
covered
beat
it,
it.
dude.
We did exactly what we do, which is,
Yeah.
you know, dance around some whitetail topics, bullshit, drink some whiskey, and that's exactly what our podcast is kind of all about. It's no
Yep.
different than it would be sitting around a campfire. You know,
Yep.
you bullshit around just some whitetail topics, but mostly just bullshit and hang out. And we had a good time, man. Thank you guys for coming on.
100%. Yeah.
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
We're definitely going to have to keep doing this because I don't mind having you just as like regular guests or you know, both ways. We'll come in your shit, you come in ours. Yeah. There's so much other stuff we want to talk about. And we never get to it. I know y'all said the same thing when your podcast ended. You were like, man, we didn't even get to talk about what we wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Dude, I had all kinds of plans. I was gonna hit you guys with all kinds of stuff, and you know what? It's good. I like it either way.
Yeah. I'll tell you this. I listened to the first one that you released, and when I listened to the second one, I could hear me going, and then I had to turn it off. Well, I can't listen to that drunk asshole talk shit on this.
Listen, I did some heavily editing, and I have turned some really drunken podcasts into some gems, and that one was actually turned out to be pretty
solid.
damn good.
Yeah, it was good.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, dude. We've had a lot worse. I've dealt with a lot worse. So
We've had podcasts that haven't aired.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
We've
yeah.
definitely done that.
Those become our Patreon podcast. It's very entertaining for them.
Same.
Dude, even our Patreon podcast, we have to edit it. It gets so fucking because it just we hang with a lot of veterans, and I'm a veteran, so it goes like suicide so fast. I mean, and like immediately, and we're just joking around, but we forget that most people don't have that kind of sense of humor. So it's like
they don't realize it. Yeah,
we also have some.
I can't put this out.
We have some sleeper Patreons that aren't super active in the like our Discord or anything else, so we kind of forget they're there.
Yeah, we don't really know who they are.
They have access to some of our other stuff,
Yeah.
and so we forget that they're there. So we have to keep that in mind.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're just
definitely.
creeping in the background.
It's sketchy, man. You get a patron and they never join anything. They just and it's like, okay, so what are you doing? Like, why don't you ever talk? I know you're here and looking, but you literally never say anything. So
Right.
yeah, protect yourself at all
Game
times.
commission. What are you doing, game commission?
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. It's DNR. All right. We're good. Thank you all for coming on. We had a great time.
Yeah, thanks again.
Definitely going to.
Likewise.
This won't be the last time you hear from the Whitetail Distraction on the Whiskey and Whitetails podcast.
Nope.
Great guys. Awesome time. We're looking forward to the future with them. We got some ideas and things that we're going to be pitching. So looking out to support us on that as well as them. We're going to take the hunting world by storm, I think. We got some good thoughts.
Appreciate you, boys.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye,
Thanks,
everybody.
guys. Have a good one.
Drinking whiskey.